Alright, so welcome officially to the course, and before we get started, let me just give you a few pointers and tips on what to expect when taking the course. Now, this is going to be the website we'll build together. It's called Passport Travel. It's for a fictional travel agency that basically help tourists plan their dream vacation, if you will. So as you can see right now from the homepage, we do have the logo on the left, the main menu on the right, and we're also going to have the background banner blending into the header. And here we do have a static image. However, I will show you an alternative on how to use the video background instead. So if you prefer using videos, I'll show you how to do that. So for the rest of the homepage, I will have different sections with different kinds of content. I will have the services section. There will be a gallery section with images from all over the world, a blog section highlighting 2 of the latest posts from the blog. We're also going to have the deals and packages section, reviews section, and then finally we'll have the footer. We're also going to build 2 additional pages in addition to the home page. I'll show you how to build the blog page. Let me just get it up here. So we do have the articles, or rather the blog page, and here you're going to have the blog posts. So I'll show you how to create this kind of design where you have latest posts showing on top, and then you will have the different posts from the different categories. And then finally, I'll also show you how to build the contact page that will have a very simple contact form. Let me just show you. So this is going to be the contact form. So initially, we're going to use the free version of Elementor, and because it doesn't have quite the number of features the paid version of Elementor has, we're going to make use of 3 additional plugins as compensation. One will be the Elementor header and footer by Brainstorm Force to build our header and our footer. We'll make use of the Essential Add-ons plugin to provide us with some additional elements which we're going to use to build certain kinds of content. And then we'll also use the WP Forms plugin for our contact form. But once we use Elementor Pro, we're not going to need any of these plugins anymore. With Elementor Pro, we can do so many things, and I'll show you how to make use of them. Plus, it's not just about the styling and design. I'm going to show you how to make the website responsive as well, so that if it's viewed on a mobile device or on a tablet, it will be responsive. As you can see, this is for mobile and it is responsive. Now, I'm also going to offer you all the videos and images I have used, and in fact, all the images with the exception of this one you're looking at right now. All these other images, these are images that I actually took myself because I do a lot of traveling, and if you'd like to make use of the images, you can. But if you're going to use them for commercial purposes, please do indicate that you got them from my Instagram account. My Instagram account is Charles Alexander. I do have a very, very small following, but I am trying to grow my following on Instagram because I take a lot of pictures. So if you do enjoy traveling around the world or seeing pictures from all over the world, be sure to follow me on Instagram, Travels of Alexander. So welcome once again to the course. I sincerely hope and believe that you will enjoy this course on Elementor. And the course is divided into several sections. Like I said, the first section, actually before we jump into Elementor proper itself, I will assume that you're brand new to building websites and you don't know anything about web hosting or web domains. In the very next section, I'm going to show you how you can get yourself a web host and a web domain as well. If you already have those or you're familiar with this topic, skip this section, move straight to the section where we'll begin building the website using the free version of Elementor. And then the next section will focus on the responsive design, how to make the website responsive. And then we'll have the paid version of Elementor Pro. I'll show you how to work with Elementor Pro to improve the functionality and design of your website. And then the very last section in this course will contain the updates, additional content where I'll specifically choose different kinds of elements or different kinds of features of Elementor and expand on them and show you how they work to the fullest. So once again, I really do hope you will enjoy and love this course. Thank you so much for watching. Let's now get started. Alright, so first things first, before we get started, there are a few things I would like you to do first of all. And the first thing here is I want you to install a theme called the Hello theme. This is the theme right here. It's actually by Elementor themselves. We're going to be working with this theme, so please go ahead, install and activate the theme. And then what I want you to do is go ahead and create some posts which you're going to be working with. I have already created about 9 posts in here. You can see I've got 3 different categories of Asia, Europe, and South America. and each of these categories have 3 different posts. Now, I'm actually going to provide for you the XML file that will contain all these posts, so you can simply import them onto your website. And then for the images as well, I'll also provide probably a link to Dropbox, where you'll have access to all these images, which you can use. A lot of these images are actually for my own Instagram account, but you're more than welcome to use them on your own website. The only thing I ask for is that if you're going to use my images on your website and you're making money from your website, please do mention that you got these pictures from my Instagram account. So please do that. But I'll provide for you all the posts content via an XML file and also the images that I have used. Now, I've also created a few pages as well. I do have the about page, the articles page, which would be like the blog page, a contact page, a featured page, and of course the home page. Also, when you're done, come down here to settings, go to reading, and then set your home page to the home page. So basically choose a static page right here and then set home page to be home. Last but not least, I've also created a menu. So go down here to appearance menus and then create your main menu. You can see I do have my menu name right here called main menu, and I've added home, about, articles, featured, and contact. So that's a little assignment for you to do. Again, I'll provide for you the XML file for the posts and pages, as well as a link to Dropbox for the images being used. All right, so now that you've added all the necessary content onto your site, it is now time to install some plugins. And of course, the very first plugin we're going to install will be Elementor. Before I do that, I do have 3 plugins already active on my site: SiteGround Optimizer and Security, because I'm hosting with SiteGround, and then WordPress Importer. If you've imported the XML file that I provided for you in the previous video, you most likely would have used the WordPress Importer plugin. So I did the exact same thing for myself, so that's why I do have the plugin active there. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to add 3 different plugins, and the first one obviously is going to be Elementor. That's the main plugin that we're going to be working with. It's the one right here, and of course it's the free version of Elementor, but because it's the free version of Elementor, it's a little bit restricted in terms of features available. In order to compensate for that, we're going to install 2 more plugins, and the very first one here is right next to Elementor. It's the Essential Add-ons for Elementor by WP Developer. So I'm going to go ahead to install that plugin as well. And then finally, we're going to install the one down here, which is the Elementor Header and Footer Builder by Brainstorm Force. So let's go ahead and install the plugin. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead now to installed plugins. And I'm just going to go ahead and activate them one at a time. Activate Header and Footer Builder, and then activate Essential Add-ons for Elementor. Now, once you activate the Essential Add-ons for Elementor, you may see a page. In fact, let me go ahead and click on the link right here. Because this isn't the first time that I have installed the Essential Add-ons plugin on my page, I'm not seeing the welcome page. So it's very likely that you may have seen a different page where they will say, hey, welcome, choose which elements you want to work with. Just click on next, 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 next. They will also offer you the upgrade to pay for the paid version of Essential Add-ons. Just ignore that. Just click on next, 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 and then finish. And then this will basically be the page that you would see. But more on that a bit later. Let's take a look at Elementor first of all, okay? Settings. What exactly do we have in here? The first thing here is going to be the post types. If you're working with custom post types, you will have the option to check them in here as well. But I'm just working with posts and pages, so I'm going to keep these 2 checked. Now it says disable default colors. Checking this box will disable Elementor's default colors and make Elementor inherit the colors from your theme. Now, if you're using an advanced theme, like let's say Astra or Ocean WP and so on, and you want to use the colors from your theme, you will uncheck these 2 boxes right here. But because we're using the Hello theme, which is a very, very lightweight theme, Elementor is going to be doing all the heavy lifting for style, design, and functionality. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check these two boxes. I'm sorry, I'm going to uncheck these two boxes, okay? Because we do in fact want to use the default colors provided by Elementor. So I'm going to keep these two boxes unchecked. And then finally, improve Elementor. If you'd like to contribute to Elementor, you can come in here and check the box, but I am not going to do that. Let's move on to style. We'll talk about this one a bit later, actually. Integrations. If you're working with Google Maps and you need to install the API key, this is exactly where you would install it. Also, if you end up installing other plugins like, let's say, PayPal or Stripe or things like that, and you need to integrate them with Elementor, it will be on this page where you will find the options to do so. You do have the advanced tab. You don't need to change anything in here. Basically, most of these are for security and for speed. If you notice an issue with Elementor, maybe your site is becoming very slow, you can come in here right now and switch the CSS print method from external file to internal embedding, but only do this if you're having issues with your speed, and it's not because you're using some other bloated plugin or your web host isn't good enough for things like that. Only change this as a last resort. Same goes with the switch editor loader method. If you want to troubleshoot issues on your website, you will come in here and enable this. The unfiltered file uploads, Elementor has kind of like an inbuilt security where if you try to upload images to the Elementor system, Elementor will take a look and see whether or not the file is actually safe to work with. By enabling this feature, which is to enable unfiltered file uploads, you do run the risk of uploading corrupt files onto your website. So I would recommend you keep this one disabled. Same goes with Google Fonts load. Again, you don't need to change anything in here. Just keep that one on default. If you want to work with Font Awesome 4, you can come in here right now and enable that feature. And then finally, you have experiments. This is where you will have access to all the latest features that Elementor are currently working on. You can see the status of most of these is set to beta, alpha, beta, and so on. In most cases, you want to keep these ones on default, all right? But there is one I can recommend that you activate, and that is the improved asset loading. This is meant to reduce the amount of code on each page built with Elementor. What that means is that your pages will typically load faster as a result. Even though it's in beta, I have been using this for quite some time and it seems to be working. So I'm going to go ahead now and activate the improved asset loading. I'm also going to activate the improved CSS loading as well. Please, if in the future on this same website you've been working on, you notice certain issues, you may want to come back in here and disable this too, but I believe it should be fine. So I'm going to come down in here and save those changes. Okay, one more thing I want to mention really quickly is you have role manager. If you have several kinds of users on your site with different kinds of roles, in here you can determine who can actually use Elementor. So say for example you don't want a user with the role of contributor to work with Elementor, you come in here to contributor and simply check no access to editor. With the paid version of Elementor, you have access to more features. And then our tools in here, this one is actually very important, the regenerate CSS and data. If you make changes like the color of your text, the size of your text, you save those changes and you're not seeing those changes take effect on your site, as long as you're sure that it isn't caching from your computer or from your server, you may want to come in here and try to regenerate files and data. What this will do is that it will rebuild the CSS style sheet, and hopefully that should fix the problem and you'll be able to see your changes. Sync library, save mode, debug bar, we'll ignore that one for now. Replace URL. If you have broken links on your site and you want to point them to new links, you come in here, add the old link, go to the second box, add the new link, and then simply click on replace URL, and you fixed the broken link. Version control. If for some reason in the future you upgrade to the latest version of Elementor and something breaks on your site, maybe your site doesn't work as well as it used to, you can come in here right now and simply roll back to the previous version. That's what this feature is in here for. If you want to become a beta tester and work with the unofficially released versions of Elementor that are still in progress, these typically have plenty of bugs and issues. So if you're interested in being a bug hunter for Elementor, you can come in here right now and enable. And then maintenance mode, again, if your site is under construction or you're making some major changes, you don't want anyone to be able to access your site during that time, you can come in right now and choose coming soon or choose maintenance. And then you'll have to build a page that will be displayed for maintenance or coming soon. You'll choose that template right here. And then while your page is under maintenance or coming soon, you can choose who will be able to have access to your website at the time. And then finally, import export kit. You can export your template kit to use on another website, or you can even import a template kit from an external site if you wanted to. So you simply click on import template kit, and then right here you'll be able to do so. I might show you how to do this a bit later in the course. And finally, system info. If you need to troubleshoot your website and you go to Elementor support, they ask you, they say, hey, can you provide us with the information of your setup? This is where you can provide all the necessary information. You simply come in here, download system info, send it to the support guys at Elementor, and then they will be able to help you. So that's essentially it for the main settings for Elementor. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next class. All right, so with all the boring stuff out of the way, let me now show you the UI for Elementor, the user interface, and how Elementor actually works. Now, I'm on my pages right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and edit the home page. And what you're going to do is, what you'll see right up here, you will see edit with Elementor. It's going to be this big blue button right here. So let's go ahead now, click on that. And what will happen here is that Elementor will be launched to work on this particular page. Okay, this is the home page. Now on the left, obviously you can see the box for Elementor, the UI. The very first thing I want to show you here is the three buttons right here, the menu basically. You click in there, and right here, you will have access to things like the site settings, theme builder, which we'll talk about a bit later. But very quickly, let's come down here to user preferences. And I don't know about you, maybe you like the light theme. I do like the dark theme. So what I'm going to do here is for the UI theme, I'm going to switch from auto detect to dark. I prefer just the black background and the white text. It's just so much cooler in my opinion. Again, this is entirely subjective, but I'm going to keep it at dark. Let's go back. And now in here, you can find something within Elementor, anywhere in Elementor if you want to. You can view the page, or then you can exit to the dashboard. But let's go back. Now, right here, you have elements, and then you have global. Global only works with the paid version of Elementor. That's when if you want to save a particular block of content and use that same block on another page anywhere on your website, that's what global basically refers to. But don't worry, we'll talk about that one a bit later. But these are your elements, right? You've got basic elements like your inner section, your heading, image, text editor. So say for example, you wanted to add an image to your page, you would simply click on the image element and then simply drop it inside the box right there. And then from here, you can choose the image that you want to work with. So just as an example, let me choose the image of this girl right here holding the Brazilian flag. And there it is. The thing is, most of the elements you'll be working with typically have three main compartments, if I can call it that way. You will have the content area. In this case, this is where you can add either text, image, video, files, audio, and so on. And then you will have style, where you can do things like maybe change the color, change the size, add like a background image, change the height, and so on. And then you will have the advanced tab, where you can do things like add margins, patterns, spacing. You could also add some motion effects, some borders, and so on. So usually, most of the elements you'll be working with will have these three different tabs or compartments. So going back in here, when you click on the button up here, this will give you access to all the elements. So You can see we've got the basic elements in here, video, button, spacer, and so on. And now you can see the ones under Pro. Under the paid version of Elementor, posts, portfolio, gallery, so many of them. So you can see right now, because we're not using the paid version of Elementor, we don't have access to all these elements. But thankfully, because we are working with the Essential Add-ons plugin, we do have access to quite many additional elements for free. You can see right here under Essential Add-ons. So we've got things like the Advanced Accordion, our call to action button, creative button, and so on. So we're going to be working with quite a few of these elements. But going back to Elementor, under general, we do have access to more blocks as well. Let me just close this accordion. So under general, with the free version of Elementor, we have access to more elements like the icon box, testimonial, social icons, and so on. Let me close this one. And then you've got site. Unfortunately, these elements are only available with the paid version of Elementor. You've got WooCommerce, again, only available with the paid version of Elementor. We've talked about essential add-ons. So this is the other plugin we installed, the header and footer. This plugin will allow us to build a custom header and a custom footer for our website. So we'll have access to elements like the navigation menu, element, page title, site title, site logo, and so on. And then last but not least, we do have access to the WordPress widgets, like your pages, calendar, audio, meta, search, and so on. Okay, that's that for the elements. Now down here, okay, you have access to a few more settings. It may sound kind of overwhelming, but don't worry. Once you begin working with Elementor, it's actually not that overwhelming. It's actually very, very easy to work with. Right here under settings, in here, you can do things like change the title of the page, change the status from published to pending review. You can add your featured image. You can also choose to hide the title, which in fact, let's do that. Okay, I'm going to hide the title. I mean, how many times do you go on a website and then on the home page it says home? People don't do that. So let's just go ahead and hide the title. And then the page layout, I'll explain this one a bit later as we progress in the course. And then you have the, you do have the reading progress bar. This is provided by the Essential Add-ons plugin. Basically, the point here is that you may have seen on some websites before where as you begin to scroll down the page, you will see like a bar either moving horizontally or vertically, indicating how much of the content you've actually read and how much more content you still have to read. So you do have that feature in here. We'll take a look at that a bit later. And then table of contents, scroll to top. Don't worry, we'll talk about those later. And then under style right here, you can change the body type. You can add like a background color if you want to. You come in here right now, choose like the primary color of blue and so on. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and uncheck that one. And then finally, you've got the advanced where you can add your own custom JavaScript code or some custom CSS code, which unfortunately is only available with the paid version of Elementor. Okay, let's move on. Next to settings, you've got the navigator. Now, the thing about navigator is that once you begin to add elements and content onto your page, the navigator button will allow you to see basically the entire structure in a hierarchical format of your entire page. So it can be very, very easy for you to quickly look for a particular element or block that you want to work with. That's what the navigation or navigator button is there for. Next is the history. So if you make things like change the color, or basically if you do anything at all, it will be in the history tab. And you can see right here, right from the very beginning, when we started editing, you know, we changed the user preference for the UI theme from auto to dark. You can see it's right there. We added an image, we hit the page title. So you can easily come in here right now and reverse any one of these actions. And then you've got revisions. Revisions is a bit more, A bit more robust. Typically under revisions, this is where once you've updated or you've saved your page, you will see those changes under your revisions tab. So it's a bit more robust than actions. So that's that. And then in here, you've got the responsive mode. You click in here, and right now you can choose either desktop view, tablet view, or the mobile view. And the thing is, you can even become very specific with the width of your screen. So say for example, if I chose tablet, right here you see these handles left and right. You can actually move to a certain dimension, and of course up here you will have the width and the height. So if you have a specific kind of device that you want to see how your website will look like on that particular device with very specific dimensions, you can come in here and change the dimensions for the width as well as the height as well. But I'm going to go back, switch to the regular desktop, and then right here you can preview your changes once you've made them, and then finally you can update, or right here under save options you can save as a draft, or you can save as a template. Saving as a template means that you can reuse the exact same content on another page. So this is basically kind of like a breakdown of how Elementor works behind the scenes, the user interface, how to add elements. Again, don't worry if it seems very overwhelming. As you begin to work with Elementor, it will become very easy for you to work with. So that was basically a crash course on the Elementor user interface. Thank you for watching. Join me in the next class where we'll now begin to set our global variables. I'll see you then. I just want to spend a few more minutes to walk you through the general concepts of sections, columns, as well as elements and paddings and margins. So as I've shown you previously, if you want to add an element, you can just simply drag from the left-hand side and then just simply drop it inside. Now the thing is, automatically, whenever you're adding elements with Elementor, a section and a column will be created for that particular element. We just dropped in the text editor element, and now you would notice right up here we have this blue line here. This is going to be the section holding the column that's holding the text editor. Notice right here you got this brown button right here, and if I hover on it, it says edit column. And now this is the actual element itself, the actual text editor. So once again, the way Elementor works is that you will have an element, whether it's an image, a video, a button, and then a column will contain that element, and then both the column and the element will be inside a section. So it's kind of like a hierarchical structure: section, column, then the actual element. Now, just like with editing the element where you'll have access to content, style, advanced, you can also edit the column holding that element. Right here, you can see I've hovered on the button here. It says edit column. You click in there, and then you'll have access to layout, style, and advanced. So with layout, you can do things like maybe reduce the length of the column. You can change the alignment. You can add an HTML tag for it. You can style the column. Maybe you want to add like a black background, or like red background, or you want to add an image, things like that. So there are a lot of things you can do with the column. Now, if you right click on the edit column button, you can do things like add a new column, duplicate the column. You could even copy and paste the style. Maybe you added like a black background, you change the font style of the text, and you want to reuse that style. You simply copy the style, and then you can paste the style elsewhere. The same thing goes with the section in here as well. If I click on the edit section button up here, now you see I have access to layout, style, advanced. Like with layout, I can change this to full width. I can maybe change the length of the width, make it very wide or very narrow. I can change the height as well if I wanted to. I can do a lot of things. Same goes with the style. Again, I can add like a background color if I wanted to. I can do several things like add motion effects and so on. And just like with the column, if I right click on the edit section button right here, you can see I can do things like edit the section, and I can duplicate. I can even save as a template, which we'll talk about when we're using Elementor Pro. Now, let me quickly talk to you about the concept of margins and paddings, because this is going to be very important. Now, I've got a section in here holding this text editor, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image into another section, and let me just quickly choose an image to work with. Let me go to my media library. Let me choose this image right here. Okay, now take a look at this, okay? Let me add a background color to the section here. Don't worry, I'll show you all this a bit later. All right, what exactly are margins? Margins are used to add space between sections. So right now we've got a section here holding this text editor with the red background. We have another section in here holding the image. So if I wanted to create plenty of space between these two, I could actually use an element in here called the spacer element. You can see I can drag spacer and then drop it in between these two sections. But another way to do so would be to go to either one of these sections. So I'm going to go to the first section in here. I'm going to go to advanced. And then right here, you've got margin. Now, please note that by default, you can add margins and paddings to all four sides of a section, to the left, right, top, and bottom. Right now, if I was to add a margin to either top or bottom, you can see they are chained, which means whatever you add to top, it will be added to the bottom as well. If you wanted to add values for one specific side, you want to start from 0 first of all. Okay, 0. You come in here, and now you can see you can unlink the value. So right now, you can simply add for top. Our right and left margins for Elementor are set to auto by default. You can't make any changes in there. But now notice that if I begin to add margins to the bottom of the first section, notice that the section holding the image is now being pushed down. That's because I'm creating space between this first section and this second section. So also, if I wanted to, I could do the reverse for the second section. I can go to edit section in here for the second one, go to advanced, unlink the values, and now instead of adding margin at the bottom, I can add at the top. So now you can see we're pushing the section holding the image downwards from the first section. So that's what margins are used for. They're used for creating spacing between sections. What of paddings? Because right here you've got paddings. Paddings are used to create space between an element and its border or its column. As an example, I'm going to use the text editor in here. All right, so I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go to advanced. And now right here, you can see I've got the padding available. I'm going to unlink the values. And now if I begin to add padding right here, you can see I'm creating space between the text editor and its own section right here at the top. I can go to the bottom, do the exact same thing as well. So you can see right now, I'm basically creating space for my text editor within its own section. That's what paddings are used for. They're used to create space for an element inside of its own column or the section. That's basically what our paddings are used for. So that's the difference between margins and paddings. Margins are used to create space between sections. Paddings are used to create space between a section and the element contained inside of it. Hopefully, you now have a good understanding of what margins and paddings are. One more quick thing, you could also rearrange sections by simply clicking and dragging. So if I wanted to move the section holding the margin, holding the image to the top, I would simply click and hold the edit section button. Now you can see it's allowing me to move. I can move it all the way up here. Just wait for the blue dash or the blue line to appear and then simply release and then drop the image right there. So you do have this option in here with Elementor as well that allows you to rearrange sections. You could also rearrange columns. Let me just quickly duplicate this column in here. Let me change this image real quick just to give you a very, very quick demonstration. Let me choose this image. So I can simply click where you have the edit column button and then rearrange. There you can see, rearrange back as you can see. So you do have that option available with Elementor as well. So don't worry, as we begin to work with Elementor, you begin to discover a lot more features and functionalities of Elementor. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class. Welcome back. So now that I've shown you a brief introduction to the user interface of Elementor, let's take a look at the global variables and how you can set the kinds of font families you want to use, the colors, and so on. Now, on the same UI interface right here, you're going to go to the menu button up here, and then now go over to your site settings, all right? Now, here's the thing. We could set global colors that can be used all across our website. To do that, click on global colors. And now this would be the default colors that you would have, blue, darkish gray, lightish gray, and then lime. So this would be for your primary headers, your secondary headers, your text. This would be your regular body text, and then accent is usually for like links or buttons. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change these to some colors I have over here. So in order to change them, I'm going to click inside, and for primary I'm going to go with white. Okay, so white is going to be FFF, 6 Fs is basically for white. That will be for my primary. And then for secondary, we're actually going to keep this as it is, but then for text we're going to go with black. Okay, black is going to be 6 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are what we call the hexadecimal values. Okay, so 6 zeros for black, 6 Fs for white. And then lastly, for the accent, which would be for the links, I do have my color in here. Let me just quickly grab the color from my other screen, come right here and paste that. So it's a shade of orange. It's basically a DCA 570. Now you could decide to add your own custom colors as well. You can come in here, click on add color, and you can name this one like anything. You could give it like let's say the special color. Okay, I'll show you how this works a bit later, but let's just call this one special color. And in here I'm going to click on the box and let's just choose something reddish. Okay, so I have my own custom color called special color. I'm going to go ahead now and simply update. Okay, so we've set our global colors which we can use throughout the site, but then we also have access to global fonts. Font families are very important. So check this out. I'm going to click on global fonts. The first one here is going to be primary. This would be for your primary headers. Now let me just take a look at my other screen in here, because I have chosen to go for the font family. I've chosen to go with Oswald. Oswald is a particular Google font that I like. So I'm going to choose Oswald for the font family. The weight here is going to be 700. So it's going to be a little bit heavier. And then I'm going to transform this to uppercase. And then I'll leave the other ones, line height, letter spacing, word spacing, and so on. Let's leave those as they are. Next is going to be the secondary. And then secondary, again, I'm going to go with Oswald. Okay. Oswald for secondary. And then the size here, I'm actually going to go with 20 pixels because it's going to be a little bit smaller. 20 pixels, and then the weight here would be 600. And there you go. That's for the secondary. And then text, this would be our regular text. I'm actually going to switch font families over here to Nurito Sans. Okay, so let's search for Nurito. Is it Nurito? Nunito, I'm sorry. Even with my glasses, I still can't see properly. Nunito Sans, that's going to be for text. And then the size here would be 18 pixels, and the weight is going to be 500. And that is that. Last but not least, we do have the accent. So accent is going to be Roboto. Let's stick with Roboto for that one. And then weight here will be 500, so we're not changing anything in here. I'm going to go ahead now and update. The point here is that we can actually use these font families, these font colors anywhere on our site. As an example, let me close this, okay? And let me go ahead now and add a heading. So I'm going to click drag, drop the heading element in here. Now take a look at this. If I was to go to style, all right here you can see we have the typography option to choose what kind of typography we want to work with, or the text color. Now take a look at this. If I click on this icon right here, this global looking icon, I click in there, can you now see we can choose from the 5 options: primary, secondary, text, accent, and even the special color that we added. That's how you can make use of the global colors that we've just set. Same goes with the typography. I click in here again, and now I can choose either to go with the primary text, secondary text, regular text, or the accent. That's how these would work. But let me show you something even more interesting. If I go back to the site settings, just underneath the design system, you have your theme style. And if I click on typography, in here, this is where we can now set specific font families, colors, sizes for our H1, H2 tag, H3, and so on. But in order for us to be able to make use of this particular system, we're going to need to disable the default colors and fonts from the settings page. Okay, remember, let me just quickly go ahead, update this. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If we go back to the back end, let me come right here, go to exit to dashboard. If you go back to your Elementor settings, right here, we're going to have to disable the default colors and fonts in order to make use of this new theme style editor. So I'm going to check these two boxes, save those changes, and now let me close this. Let me refresh this page again. Okay. Now take a look at this. If I go back in here, go to site settings, and I come down here to typography, now I am able to set a specific text color for the body, text size, for the links, H1s, and so on. Also, if I go back to the regular back end, and let me just close this, and I added my heading again in here. If I go to style, right here, if I go to text color, I still have access to the colors I've set earlier. And then also for the typography, I still have access to the secondary text. Basically the same options I said earlier, I still have access to them. So basically, let's just go back to the site settings one more time. I just wanted to show you that I still have access to those options. Let's go back to the theme style typography. Okay, I do have my options in here that I've already set. So what I'm going to do here is this. Okay, let's first of all choose the typography for our body. So right here for body, I'm going to go over here to text color. We're going to choose black. That'll be for the text. For the typography, I'm simply going to go with text. Okay, remember we set text to be Nooning to Sans, size of 18 pixels, and then the weight of 500. Okay, so that's going to be for the body. Good. Now for the link, let me just check what I have in here. For the link, I'm going to go with color, the accent color, and then typography, I'm going to go with accent as well. And now for the H1s. Okay, this is going to be a little bit different. So for the H1s, what I've done right here is for the family, I've set that one to default, but the size here is going to be 100 pixels. Okay, very, 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 very massive. And then the weight here is going to be 600. We're hardly going to use H1s on our site, so don't worry about the huge size. So I'm going to keep that one at 100. Now let's go over to the H2. And for H2, I do have the size here. So I'm going to click on typography. The size here, I've set it up to 32 pixels. So 32 pixels. And then I do have the weight here to be 700. Basically, this is the main header we're going to be working with. Actually, my apologies. I set it to 36. Sorry, 36 pixels for H2. Okay. And then for the H3, check this out. For the H3, the color here is going to be the accent color, the orange color. And then the size here is going to be 22 pixels. Okay. And then the family here is going to be primary. Okay, so which would be Oswald. Let me also set the primary font family here to be Oswald. That will be for the H2. So basically, H2s will be 36 size and pixel. The family of Oswald, they'll be uppercase, and then 700 in weight. And then finally, I've also set for the H4, same color would be the accent color. And then the size here is going to be 18 pixels. Okay, so let's choose Oswald again. And then the size here would be 18 pixels, the same size as our body text. And then one more, the very, very last one would be the H5, which I don't really think we're going to work with that much, but let's just set it up H5, and then typography would be the same secondary or primary if you want. And then the size here would be 16 pixels. Okay. And there you go. So I'm going to go ahead now and simply update this. And that's it. Now, I know this was a very, very long video with me just, talking about, colors and stuff. But the point here is that on our site, if we ever add an H2, automatically it's going to inherit the values from here. So our H2s right now would have the font family of Oswald, size of 36 pixels, and then a weight of 700. And then the same goes with the H3s, H4s, and so on. We've basically set up the global values for our headers as well as our body text, but also we've set our global colors, which we can use over and over again. We've set 5 of them: primary, secondary, text, accent, special color. We're not going to use special color. I just, wanted to show you how you can add your own additional custom colors if you wanted to. But that's basically us setting up our global font families, colors, and sizes. Join me in the very next video where we'll now begin to build out the header for our website. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and build the header for our website, and this is exactly what it looks like right now, and it does not look good at all. This is what we're trying to accomplish. You can see the header right here. We have the logo on the left, and then we have the main menu on the right. However, I want to show you something, okay? If I was to go to another page, let's say the About page as an example, right here, you can see that the header is different. This one has a black background, while the header on the home page doesn't have any background at all. It simply blends into the background image here. So basically, we need to create 2 different headers, one specifically for the home page and then the other for the rest of our pages. Now, how do we do this? Before I show you that, let me just drag the demo website away. Now, before I show you how to do that, I want to show you something else, okay? If I was to go to edit with Elementor and I went to site settings, in addition to being able to set your global fonts and your colors and all that, you can also make changes to the site identity right here where you have settings. So if I click on site identity right here, we can change the site name to, I'm going to call mine Passport Travel. That's the name of the website. And then the tagline will be when travel meets adventure. Okay, so for the logo, I'm going to choose the logo right here. Let's insert that one. And then for the 5 icon, I'm going to choose the image right here with the one with the green background. So I'm going to insert that. And there you go. We have our site identity. Now you could also come down here to header, okay, and make different kinds of changes. You can choose to hide the logo, show the tagline, increase the content width or reduce the content width. It's all up to you. But since we're going to create our own custom headers, we don't need to change anything in here at all. So I'm going to go ahead now and simply update. And now check this out. Okay, I'm going to go back to the back end. All right, exit to dashboard. And now let's create our header. I'm going to come down here to appearance. Here you will see Elementor header and footer builder. This is from the plugin. So I'm going to click in there. And now I'm going to click on add new. And now let's call this one the home page header. Okay, then right here where you have type of template, we're going to choose header. And then we can choose, okay, where would we like to display this header? Since it's specifically going to be for the front page, I'm going to choose down here where you have specific target. I'm going to choose specific pages. And then right here, I'll simply type in home. And there you go. So now this particular header will only be displayed on the home page. And then for user roles right here, you can choose, okay, maybe you want to display this header only to logged in users or logged out users or editors. So you have a lot of flexibility. I'm just going to keep this blank because we want it to be for everyone. Now here, you've got this option, enable layout for canvas template. Now the thing with Elementor is that in addition to the default template and the one provided by your theme, Elementor gives you 2 custom templates. One is called the Elementor canvas, the other full width. Full width simply means that your content can extend to the edges of your screen. So basically it goes full width. There are like no margins or paddings. Elementor canvas simply means that you're not going to have any header or footer. It's basically a blank Elementor template. We're not going to work with the canvas template, so there is really no need to enable this layout. But I'm going to choose the Elementor full width template. Let's go ahead now and hit publish. Okay, and now I'm going to click on edit with Elementor. So what we're trying to achieve here is this. Let me bring back the demo site. It's basically going to be a section with two columns. The one on the left column will have the logo, while the column on the right will have the main menu. And we also want the column on the right, the one containing the main menu, to have more width. So check this out, okay? Right here, I'm going to click on the plus button here, and now we can choose our structure, and I'm going to choose this one right here. This one will have, the first column will have a third of the entire section, while the second column will have 2/3, okay? So right here, since we're editing the section, as you can see, for the content width, we could actually go full width if we wanted to, but I'm going to go with boxed, and I'm going to choose 1240 pixels. This is just my own personal preference. I love 1240 pixels. And now in here, for the very first column, I'm going to click inside. I'm going to scroll all the way down here, and we're trying to add the logo, right? So I'm going to add site logo right there. Click, drop it inside, and now we have our logo. Now you can see it because the logo has white text and this is a white background, but just bear with me, okay? I'm going to choose the image size here. I'm going to go with full for now, okay? And then let's go ahead and click on the edit button for this section. All right, so I've clicked in there. I'm going to go back to style, and then right here where you have background type, I'm going to choose classic, and now I'm going to choose the color black. So now you can actually see the logo, right? Okay, now let's go over to the second column, and we're going to add our navigation element. So right here you can see navigation menu. Click drag, drop that inside, and then you can see main menu is selected by default. However, we need to make quite a number of changes. Notice right here that with the main menu, the text is in capital letters, it's in white. It's also aligned to the right and also in the center. So we need to do 4 things. Let's go back in here. First thing I'm going to do is, while editing the navigation menu, right here where you have layout, click in there, and now we're going to choose align to the right. As you can see, right? So now it's to the right. Now let's go over to style, and we're going to come down here to typography, click on the edit button, come down here to transform, choose uppercase, okay? And then for text color, let's click on the global icon right there and then choose primary for white. Good. But now how do we align the menu items in the middle vertically? What you want to do here is you're going to click on the edit column button here, this particular button right here. You click in there, and now here you can see we have vertical align. We're going to choose middle, and there you go. That is it. But we're not done yet. For the logo, let's click on the edit button for the site logo, and then the alignment here, we're going to go to left. Okay, you can't really see the difference just yet, but just bear with me. We're going to choose that one to the left, okay? Let's go ahead now and update. Okay, and now let's just take a look at what we have. View the page, and there you go. Now you can see our home page has this particular header right here. But then if I was to go to, let's say, the about page as an example, you can see we don't have that header at all. If I was to go to the contact page as an example, you can see we don't have that header. So this right here, the home page, now has this particular header with the black background, the logo, and then the menu items. Now to round this up, I'm actually going to make a few changes. Let's go back to the section, okay? And I know I set the content width to be 1240 pixels, but I've done some further testing, and I think it's best we go with the full width. Okay, so let's go with full width for now, and then this column, the one holding the logo, we're going to reduce it to 25%. Okay, so 25%, while the column holding the menu items will have 75%. And then let's also make a change to the logo. I'm going to click edit logo. Let's go to style, and then for the max width, we're going to set this to 75%. Okay. A question you might have here is, why are we setting the max width and not the actual width? Here's the thing, okay? When you set the width for the logo will always have that width regardless of the screen size. But when you're working with max width, you're basically saying, hey, the logo should never exceed this width. And then in situations where the screen size isn't large enough to accommodate the full width of the logo, reduce the size. So basically, max width is much better for responsive design, and you always want to be responsive. So we're going to set that to 75 pixels. And now if we update, and if we take a look at our header, you can see right now that it looks so much similar to what we have over here on the demo website. Last thing to do is we're going to duplicate this header for the second header. So basically, here's what we're going to do. Okay, I'm going to go back to the back end, and instead of creating the second header for the rest of the website, we're simply going to come in here, and then you'll see EA duplicator. That's the essential add-ons duplicator. So I'm going to go ahead now and simply duplicate the homepage header. Now you will see draft Elementor. Let's go ahead now, click on edit. Okay, and then we'll make a few changes in here. We'll call this one the global header. Okay, you can give it any other name that you want, but I'm going to call this one global header. And then right here, type of template, yes, it's the header. And then the display on, we're going to go with entire website. But then to be on the safe side, I'm going to come in here and say add exclusion rule. So we're saying, hey, do not display this one on the home page. So down here where you have specific page, I'm going to come in here and simply type in home. So we're making sure that this header will never be displayed on the home page. It will only be displayed across the entire website. And there you go. So template full width as well. Let's go ahead now and hit publish. And there you go. So just to go back in here, let's refresh this page. So that's the header for the home page. But now take a look at this, okay? If I was to go to any other page, let's say the about page as an example, now you'll see that the duplicate header isn't showing. Let's go to the articles page as well. You can see again, the duplicate header is not showing, despite the fact that we set the duplicate header to show on every page except the home page. What exactly is going on here? And trust me, it took me several hours just trying to figure out exactly why this was not working, but I figured it out. What you want to do is this, okay? Go back to the duplicate header right here, okay? This is the duplicate header we created. What you want to do is this, okay? Just try to initiate. Actually, let me just go back to the proper backend so you're not confused. All right, so from here, okay, so from here, just click on edit with Elementor, okay? Edit with Elementor. And then what you're going to do is right here, just initiate any kind of change. Let's say you add the heading element in here, for example, okay? Drop that in there. Now, do you see that the update button is available? Okay, I'm going to go back in here, close this. Okay, the whole point here is you want to make some sort of change on the header so that this update button down here would be triggered. Now we can update, and now it should work. So if I was to go back to my articles page in here and now refresh, now you can see that the duplicate header is now showing. I go back to the home page, it's the exact same header. I go to the about page, and of course, it's the exact same header as well. So that's exactly what you should do. Whenever you try duplicating your headers or footers on the duplicate, simply go inside, edit with Elementor, add any element, remove that element just to trigger the update button, update, and now that new duplicate header or footer will now be in full effect. So that's it for the video. We've created our two headers. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class. In the previous video, we successfully created our two headers, one for the homepage and the other for the rest of the website. But now we're going to create our global footer. And the good news here is that we only need to create one footer. And this is exactly what we're trying to create. We're going to have this image here on the left, and then some content information, social media icons, and then the site copyright basically down here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and quickly do this. I'm going to click on add new, and we're going to call this one the global footer. Select option here will be footer, and of course display across the entire website. And we'll change the template to full width, and there we go. Let's go ahead, publish. And now let's edit with Elementor. Now, I want you to pay very close attention to a massive difference between the header and the footer. See, in the header that we have here, we basically have just two columns. The one on the left holding the logo, the one on the right holding the main menu. But for the footer, notice that it is a little bit different. Yes, we still have two columns, one holding this image, the other one holding the contact information. But then down here, this copyright text is actually a third column. It's not under this first column here. It's actually a separate column on its own. So in order to create this kind of a multi-column section, we're going to make use of a new element called the inner section. It's actually the very first element that you have. So it's the one right here, inner section. So I'm going to click drag and then drop it inside. Okay. So first things first though is I'm going to go ahead and edit the very first section. If you're having trouble trying to click on the parent section, basically, you can always use your navigator right here, and then you can see right here we have the section, column, and then inner section. So I'm going to click on section right now. We're going to change the content width right here to full width, and then columns gap, we're going to choose no gap. The reason is that if you pay close attention, you can see right now that where you have the image, there is no space, there is no padding, there are no margins whatsoever. The image is directly right there at the border of the bottom. That's why we're choosing no gap here. We don't want to have any gaps at all. The same is going to go with the inner section as well. But before we jump in there, let's add a background color. So I'm going to go to background type. And of course, we're going to choose black. So we're going to have a black background for the footer. Okay. Next up now is going to be the inner section. So I'm going to click on inner section right here from the navigator. Again, we're going to go full width. And then columns gap here, we're going to say no gap as well. All right. Awesome. Now, let's go ahead and handle the very first column in here, which will have our image. So I'm going to drop the image element in there. Choose this image right here, and in case you're wondering, this is actually in Peru. It's a place called Huacachina or Huacachina. I'm not exactly sure of how it's pronounced, but it's basically kind of like a desert area. You can do sandboarding and so on. Pretty awesome place to check out. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and switch this one to full. Okay, but then here's the thing. All right, we're gonna change the column widths. We're going to make the first column in here, we're going to actually make it a bit wider. So we're going to go all the way to 63 pixels, 63% actually. So 63%, and then 37% for the second column. But we're going to make a change to the image. The image is way too tall. So let's go ahead, edit the image, and then we're going to go over here to style. And now here, I'm going to choose 450 pixels. Okay, so it's just about tall enough and wide enough. Okay, that's the image right there. Now, let me just close the navigator. For the second column, we're going to add a series of different elements. The very first one here would be the heading element. And this one will be our contact. Okay, I'm going to type it all in capital letters, contact. It's going to be an H2. For the style, obviously, we're going to go to the text color and simply choose primary. Okay. And now we're going to choose another heading. Again, I'm going to drop it just underneath the contact right there. This one is going to be our telephone. All right. So again, capital letters, telephone. However, we're going to make this one an H3, okay? Actually, let's make it an H4. We're going to make it an H4, and we're going to add some information. So what I'm going to do right here is I'll simply right-click and then simply duplicate. And now we're going to make this one an H5, all right? So the actual telephone number will be an H5. So let's change the number right here to 090 space 645 space 3417. That's going to be the telephone number. But I'm going to go over to style, and the typography, let's actually choose text. All right, I prefer this text pattern, so we're going to choose that one. And then we're also going to duplicate the telephone again, drag it down here just underneath the telephone number. We're also going to duplicate the telephone number itself, okay, and then drag underneath telephone. Now, oops, sorry, that went all the way up there. Let's bring it back down here. Okay, now we're going to edit telephone. The second telephone right here, we're going to change this one to email. So this is basically how to work smart, okay? Just simply duplicate whenever you can and simply make the necessary edits. And now we're going to edit the telephone here. The telephone number, we're going to change to an email. So my email is alex at passporttravel.com. Does that look correct? Alex at passporttravel.com. Okay, yep, that is correct. And then last but not least, we're going to have our address. Okay, so let's also duplicate the email heading one more time. Let's drop that in here. Change email to address. And now for the actual address, we're going to use a text editor as opposed to a heading because there's going to be multiple lines of text. So we're going to drop the text editor right there. And I do have a very interesting address right here. I don't know if this is actually a real address. I don't remember where I saw this address from. But it's 13 Rue Emile Zola. Okay. Now I'm going to press Shift Enter. Not just enter, because if you press enter, you're going to have like a double spacing. So use Shift key and then enter, so you have a single line spacing. And now I'm going to type in 69002 Lyon, Shift enter again, and then we're going to type in France. Okay, and we're going to go over to style, typography, we're going to go with text, and of course text color will be primary, and there you go. And last but not least, we're going to have our social media icons. Very, very, very important. Social media is going to be down here under general. So let's add a social media. And of course for Facebook, well, we're going to change the color from official color to custom. The primary color here would be white. The secondary color would be black. So basically you'll have the white background and then the actual icons themselves will be black. If this was a real website you were building, this is where you would add the link to your Facebook page. So that's for Facebook. Let's just do the exact same thing for Twitter as well. White will be the primary color, black is the secondary color. Last but not least, YouTube, official color, custom. Primary color is white, secondary color is black. And then the shape here, we're going to change the shape to circle. All right, and then alignment, we're actually going to align it to the left. We're almost there, but then notice that there is some spacing with the actual contact information and then the image. So what you're going to do right here is we're going to go right here to the column holding all this contact information. You click in there, go over, first of all, vertical align, let's align to the middle, okay? And then go to advanced. And then right here where you have padding, I'm going to unlink these values together, because the thing about this is by default, whatever value you add to your padding, to whether top, right, bottom, or left, it will duplicate across the remaining 3 sides. So we don't want this. We only want to add padding to one side. So I'm going to click this button right here to unlink the values. So just in case you don't know, padding basically is a way of creating space between your content and its border. So we're going to add padding to the left, as you can see, looking much better already. And I'm going to go all the way to 40 pixels. Okay, we're almost there. One more thing we're going to add right now is going to be the copyright text. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here. Okay, so right here under your Elementor head and footer, you see copyright text. Click drag, and now be very, 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 very careful. We're not dropping it under this first column holding the image, we're dropping it on a separate column. You can see the blue line appearing, signifying that, okay, this is going to be a separate column. Notice right now that the blue line only is underneath the image, underneath the column holding the image. But if I drag my mouse just further down just a little bit, now you can see the blue line extending across both columns. So now I'm going to drop the copyright text in there, and there it is. So text color in here will obviously be primary. Typography, we're going to go with text align to the center. And we're actually going to go over to typography again. And let's make this one just a little bit smaller than usual. And I think 16 pixels is about right. But we also want to add some padding as well. So let's go over to advanced. Again, we're going to unlink the values. So we're going to add padding of 20 pixels for the top, 20 pixels for the bottom as well. We've done quite a lot. Let's go ahead now and update. And let's see what it looks like. So I'm going to go over here, refresh the page. And there you go. This is our footer right there. Now, I know you can see our white space down here, but that's simply because we don't have any content yet on the home page. That's why you have this white space. I already added some content to the about page. So this is more like what it will now look like. You can see there's no more white space underneath because we actually do have some content on the page. But there it is. We now have our footer well built out with the image from Peru, our copyright text, as well as some contact information. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you in the next class. So now that we've built the headers and footer, it is now time for us to build our home page. And the very first section we're going to be building will be the banner. You can see right here we have the background image with the tropical trees, the palm trees and the beach, and then of course the text where travel meets adventure, and then the button that says book your trip now. So also, of course, you would have noticed that the background basically blends into the header. How do we do that? Well, I'm going to go ahead now to edit the home page. So I'm going to say edit with Elementor. And right here, you can notice that we have basically two columns. One on top, the one that contains where travel meets adventure. And then we'll have another column containing the button book your trip now. So what I'm simply going to do here is this, all right? We do have a heading text in here, but just in case you don't see anything, just simply drag the heading element and drop it inside your box right here. And I'm simply going to say where travel meets adventure. That is the major tagline for our website. And I'm going to make this one an H1. All right. But we're going to make some changes to the actual typography itself. So let's go to style. And for the typography in here, I am going to change the transform to uppercase. And we're also going to make the weight 900 just to make it kind of very, very, very thick. And then the style, will make it italic as well. All right, that's that for the text for now. Let's go ahead now and add the background image for this section. So I'm going to click on the edit section button right here. The content width, we're going to keep this one boxed, but then the width here will be 1240 pixels. Okay, and now check this out. Okay, for the height, we're going to set it to a minimum height of 1,000 pixels because we really want to show as much of that background image as possible. So let me make this 1,000. And now we're going to go over to style, background type classic, and now I'm going to choose the image, and it's going to be, I do apologize, I actually do have two separate ones in here for now. I will delete the one we're not going to use. We're going to use the bigger version. This one is just 849 pixels in height, but this one is 1274. So we're going to make use of this one. So I'm going to insert that, and there you go. Now let me show you some tricks regarding positioning your background image. You've got different kinds of positions in here: center, center, center left, center right, and so on. So it's really up to you to choose the ideal angles of position for your background image. Mine here that I've chosen is going to be bottom center. So here you get to actually see the palm trees, the beach as well. So it's, for me, it's the best position. And then for the size, you do have several options in here. I'm going to go with cover. The difference between cover and contain is that contain will show the entire image, okay? And contain isn't always the best option, because when you show the entire image, if the image isn't big enough for the entire screen, it will start to repeat itself. You can see in the background here, you kind of have the image repeating itself all over again. But with cover, you're basically saying, hey, try to ensure that the image will cover the entire screen. So that's why I've chosen our cover here. But we're also going to add a background overlay. So check this out. Okay, I'm going to go right here where you have background overlay. I'm going to click in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the background type as usual, but we're going to choose a black overlay. And then the opacity in here, I've actually gone with 0.23. Okay, of course you can change this if you don't want to use 0.23. But now we're going to go back to the actual text. Let's go back in here. And of course, the text color, we're going to make this one white. And there it is. Okay, we're also going to change the size as well. So I'm going to go all the way to 120 pixels. All right. And again, this is entirely subjective. You can make yours a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. But we're also going to change the alignment as well. Okay, so let's go to content. We're going to align it to the center. And there it is, where travel meets adventure. And then one thing we're going to do right now would be to add our button. So I'm going to drag the button right here, element, and I will drop it just beneath the headline. And of course, right here, we're going to say, book your trip now. Okay. And of course, this is where you would add the link to maybe a page or an external website like Agoda or booking.com. In fact, let's even do that. We could just say booking.com, right? Let's just do that, booking.com, just for the fun of it. And of course, we're going to align it to the center. Size here will be medium. And let's add an icon as well, okay? So I'm going to choose the icon library in here. Let's search for plain. All right, I'm going to choose plain right there. Insert. You do have the option to change the icon position to after or before the text, but we want to keep that on before. And then the icon spacing, you could also add some spacing between the icon and the image. So I'm going to go with 8, okay, just to give it a little bit of some spacing. And now we're going to go over to style, and this is where we're going to make some major changes. So the first change we're going to make in here would be the typography. The weight of the text is going to be 600. All right, and then transform to uppercase. Now, because this is a link, you would notice that there is the underline right there, but we don't want that one. So I'm going to go to style. I'm going to go to decoration and then choose none. All right, we don't want any of the text, any of the underline text in there. All right, typographic color. Let's text color right here. We're going to go with the white. All right. And then for the button itself, right here, you'll have the background type. Let's click in there. And we're going to go with classic. Color here would be orange. All right. And now we're going to set a border as well, solid. All right. And then what we're going to do for the border is we're going to change the border color to the orange color as well. And then we'll add a border radius just to make the circles, the edges just a little bit circular. So we're going to go with we're going to go with 12 pixels right here. And that is it. I'm going to go ahead now and update. And let's see what it looks like. Let's exit to the dashboard. Let's click in here, go to the home page. And there it is. So where travel meets adventure. And of course, we have the button right here. that would link to our booking.com. But then how do we achieve this where you have the background basically blending into the header? Jump in the very next video where I'll show you how to do that. So how do we now blend the homepage banner into our header? Well, just like what we have over here, what we're simply going to do here is this. Again, we're going to head back in here and let's edit the homepage header first of all. What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to remove the black background. We no longer need it. So I'm going to go over to Style and then simply click on the classic button again to basically reset it back to its default background, which is just basically the white color. I'm going to update. All right, let's view the page. Let's go back to the home page proper. All right, now here I'm going to now edit the actual home page itself. So I'm going to click on edit with Elementor, the very first link up there. And now let me show you the power of negative margins. I'm going to edit the section holding the banner, come down here to advanced, unlink the values for the margins, and now I'm simply going to go all the way to negative 222 pixels, and there you go. Just like that, we have been able to blend in the header with our homepage banner. Let me update. Let's view the page just to make sure, and there it is. That's our brand new homepage banner and header, just like that. So that's basically the power of adding negative margins. However, let me point out that this only works well on your desktop view. The thing is, if I was to go to the responsive view, you will see that the negative margins will begin to show and it's quite ugly. So down here where you have responsive mode, if I switch this one to tablet, it's still okay, kind of, although you can now see that the menu, the hamburger icon right here isn't looking that great. But then if you go to mobile, it becomes really bad. You can see right now that you don't, the logo basically is with the text where travel meets adventure, and you can barely even see the hamburger menu. So we obviously are going to have to make several changes for the responsive design. That'll be for later, but for now, desktop wise, this looks pretty good. So jump in the very next video where I'll show you an alternative homepage banner. All right, so as promised, I want to show you an alternative homepage banner. It's not exactly a banner, it's more of a video. So you're going to have a video background as opposed to the traditional background image. So it's quite simple. This is the video I would like to add to the background. It's a video I made for myself, basically a compilation of some of my travels around the world. So I'm going to go ahead and simply grab this link right here. And we're going to edit this section. Now, because of the negative margins, you may not be able to see the edit section button up here. What you want to do is to simply use the navigator. Okay, so come down here, click on navigator, click on section, and now you can edit the section. So again, the navigator button being very useful. We're going to go now to the layout. Okay, I'm sorry, style rather. And then right here where you have background, we're going to go with the video. You click on video. And now in here, I'm going to paste the link to the YouTube video, but you can also paste a link from Vimeo as well. And then you can choose the start time, the end time. You can choose to play once on mobile, enable the privacy mode. If you're going to go with the background video, I would highly recommend that you choose a background fallback. So for the background fallback, I'm simply going to use the same image. The reason is because it's a video, sometimes it may not play, and because it's from YouTube, maybe YouTube has an issue, or for one reason or the other, the video doesn't play. Elementor would use the background as a fallback option. So I'm going to go ahead now and update, and let's take a look at our page. Come in here, refresh the page, and there you go. So now you can see we have the background video now playing. And of course, I'm not going to deny that the videos aren't more powerful than an image. Obviously, videos are a lot more interesting, But please note that videos do have certain drawbacks, certain disadvantages, okay? It may slow down your website. So if you're going to use a video, please try to make sure that the video isn't that long, maximum maybe 10 seconds, because the longer the video is, the longer it will take to load, and that will slow down your website. So please make the videos very short. Make sure you add a background image as a fallback should in case the video doesn't load. But that's the alternative for your homepage banner. Thank you for watching, and of course I will see you in the next class. Welcome back. So let's continue with building the homepage, and as you can see, I've switched back to the traditional background image. But like I said, you know, if you want to use the video, that's fine. The next section we're going to build out will be the 2-column section that will have some text on the left and image on the right. And then the third section in here is very similar. It's just the columns reversed. So in the third section, we have the image on the left and then the text on the right. So how exactly are we going to achieve this? This is very straightforward. We're going to go to our home page. Let's edit. And you can see right now, it's basically 2 columns, 50-50. So very easily, we're going to come down here, create a new section with 2 columns, 50-50. I'm going to edit the section, make sure it goes full width. And then the columns gap, we're going to say no gap. All right. So the first section in here is going to have some text. So let me drop the text editor in here. Let me just quickly copy the lorem ipsum dummy text I have over here. Let me just go ahead and paste that. And then we also have the header. Let me drop that right there. It's an H2. And here, I didn't actually create any actual header, any like real title. So let me just type in, you know, we love to travel, you know, just just something. All right. So that's that. And then for the second column in here, we're going to add the image, and I'm going to add this image I took in Istanbul. These were a group of college students. I was walking around and I said, hey, you know, would you like me to take a picture? They said yes, so I took the picture. So make sure you set this image to full, because again, we want the image to occupy the full width and height of its column. But then we also need to add the learn more button. So what I'm going to do, of course, is to go back in here, drag button, drop it in here. And then I'm going to say learn more. And then this link can go to maybe the about page. So I'll just simply say /about. All right. And there it is. I'm going to align to the center. Let's make some changes. Style, typography. I'm going to say transform to uppercase. The decoration, none. We don't want any decoration. And then the text color, I'm going to switch that to black. And now for the actual button itself, I'm going to go with a background color of white. So background type in here is going to be color white, but then we'll set a border of solid so we can actually see the button. And if you want to, you could add some border radius as well, but I'm not going to do that. One final thing to do would be to align our content in the middle. So I'm going to click on the edit column button, comment to vertical align, set to middle. And then, okay, one more thing. We do need to have some space on the left and right. As you can see right now, the text isn't exactly right up the edge of the column. So we need to add some space in. So I'm going to go back in here. So what we're going to do is very simply, we're going to go to advanced for the same column. Right here, we're going to unlink the values for the padding. And then I'm going to give 50 pixels, right, 50 pixels on the left. And there it is. We have built out our second section. So very easily, since the third section is very similar in design, what we can do is to simply right click on the edit section button and then duplicate. Okay, and now what I'll simply do is I'm going to drag this first column in here, drag it all the way in here, switch the columns, and now very simply, let's go ahead, edit this image. I'm going to choose this one, which I took in Argentina, Mount Fitz in El Calafate. And then, of course, for the text in here, did I add anything? Travel to the best places is the header. Okay, so let me just switch that header in here and say travel to the best places. And there you go. All right, let's go ahead now, update. And let's see what the page looks like. Update, come on, let's go. Okay, do bear with me. Unfortunately, these are the occupational hazards of an instructor or a teacher. Sometimes the internet begins to mess up, and okay, finally it's updated. Okay, thank you. Now, let's view the page. All right, let's scroll down, and there it is. Okay, one more thing, just as a bonus, we could add some animation so that the images maybe like, you know, they're sliding from the left and right. So what we can do is to simply go back and check this out, okay? For the first image, the one with the students in here, I'm going to edit the image, go to advanced. Right here you have motion effects. I'm going to say entrance animation. Let's slide in from the right. Okay, so slide in from the right, so you know, it slides in from the right. And then for this image, we'll simply do the opposite, slide in from the left. So motion effects, slide in from the left. And okay, that was kind of weird. I'm not sure exactly what I did. Let me just do that again. Okay, for some reason the image went over to the second column. I don't know why that happened, but all right, let me just go ahead, update. And there we go. Let's view the page. Let's scroll down. Image sliding from the left, image sliding from the right, and there it is. And just like that, our homepage is beginning to take effect. So join me in the next video where we'll now take a look at how we're going to build out the next section, which would be our unique travel design. All right, so we're moving on, and the next section is going to be the unique travel design section, which may look a little bit tricky, but it's not that tricky. All right, we basically have one very big section with multiple columns. One column will hold the header, unique travel design. We're going to have the divider element. We'll have some text, and then we'll have an inner section element with 3 columns with 3 different headings, diagrams, and some text. So let's go ahead and edit the homepage one more time. And I'm going to scroll all the way down here. And the first thing I'll just simply do is just to drag the header in here. And I will add the header that says our unique travel design. Okay, and of course I'm going to align this one to the center. So since we now have content in our section, I'm going to go ahead and edit the section, and we're going to set the width to 1240 pixels. Okay, and then style, we're going to add a background color of F8. So it's this sort of grayish white color. I really don't know the exact color, what it's called. But the point here is that we're trying to differentiate the section just above it from the new section we're creating. So one of the best ways to differentiate sections is by adding different colored backgrounds. So unique travel design, I'm going to go back to advanced as well. Add some padding. So 50 pixels top, 50 pixels bottom as well, and there it is. So the next element will be the divider element, which I'll drop just below our unique travel design. We're going to align to the center, and then the width here would be about, let's go with 50%, or maybe that's a bit too much. How about 40%? All right, so 40%. Next is going to be the text in here. Luxury is not about the stars. I actually stole this text from some website. I don't remember, but I didn't come up with this with this text. Okay, I'm not that smart. So I'm gonna drop the text editor just beneath the divider and paste that text right there. And of course, we're going to align it to the center. And then last but not least, we do have our 3 column section in here. So we're going to use the inner section, and we're going to work smart again. Basically, each column has the exact same design. You have a diagram, you have a header, and then you have some text. So what we'll simply do is we'll design the very first column, drop our image in here, and it's the image with the world plane kind of thing. This one right here. Insert that media, make it a full size, and then we're going to add a header just beneath the image. We're going to make this one an H3. So I do have some text in here, and it's called, this one is going to be featured destinations. That would be the headline, featured destinations. And let's make a change, okay? I'm going to align to the center, but then for the style, we're going to change the typography from uppercase to just normal, okay? All right, and then last but not least, we'll have the text editor. Let's drop that in there. So let me just grab this text right here, similar ipsum dummy text. Just go ahead and paste that. I think it's actually the exact same text, even silly me. Okay, well, style, just align to the center. And there it is. So what we simply need to do right now is to come in here, right click on the edit column button and simply duplicate, and then duplicate one more time. And then we'll come in here and delete the fourth column. And there it is. So we're just going to come in here right now, change this image to the one with the map. And I do have the text in here that says travel guides. So in addition to being able to feature certain destinations to their customers, Passport Travel also offers travel guides as well. And then the last one in here, I'm going to switch the image to the one with the plane ticket. I do have the header here that says affordable tickets. And there it is. And there you go. So I'm gonna go ahead now and simply update this. And let's view the page. And voila, Ionic Travel Design. There you go. So hopefully you enjoyed this particular lesson. Join me in the next one where we'll continue to build out our homepage. I'll see you then. Let's go ahead now and add the gallery to our homepage. Now I know that in the demo site here, you can see I created a services section, but I've decided not to do the same thing because it's actually very, very straightforward, and I don't want to waste too much time teaching you, the same thing over and over again. Basically, if you want to build out the same kind of section, you will have your white background, and you will have 3 columns. Okay, the first column here will hold the headline, our services. You will have the next column that will use the inner section element for the 3 columns, and then you can simply repeat that same section for the remaining 3 columns down here. Now, the element are used that has the image right here, the headline. It's the info box. All right, you'll find it under your essential add-ons. So it's the one right here under essential add-ons. You will see info box, and it's the one right here. So you simply drop it inside, and now here you can choose your image. You will add the title, the content in there, and so on. So you can think of this as an assignment if you want to build out a similar structure. But I'm going to go ahead now and create our gallery instead. So for the gallery, it's actually not a gallery, but more of an image carousel. So I'm going to go to general right here. And then you see we have the image carousel right here. Click, drag, drop it inside. And I'm going to choose our images. Now I do have 6 images I have selected. Let me just take a quick glance at my other screen right here. So I have this image, this image in here as well. This one, that's 4. I also have this one from Chiang Rai and this one from Bariloche. Okay, let me go ahead now and create a gallery. Now the trick here is that all these images have the exact same height of 800 pixels, as you can see, and also the width of 1200 pixels. So whenever you're adding images to your gallery or carousel, make sure or try to ensure that they are as close as possible in terms of dimensions. They don't have to be exactly, but they shouldn't differ by more than, let's say, 5 or 10 pixels, give or take. So try to make the images have the same size as much as possible. So we're going to insert that into the gallery, and we're going to choose the full size. Slides to show would be 2 at the time. Slides to scroll would also be 2. You don't want to stretch your images because this could lead to them being blurred. So we'll keep that on no. Navigation, arrows and dots, yes. Or you could just go with dots that will show down here, which is also possible. And then the link, you could link them to a media file if you want to, but I'm not going to link them. I'll just leave them on none. The caption, we'll go with title. Okay, so there'll be the titles of each image being displayed, and there it is. All right, so I'm going to edit the section right now, choose a full width, and then columns gap, no gap, and there you go. I'm going to go ahead now, simply update, and let us view our page. So I can scroll down here, and there you go. That is our gallery right there. So one thing you could also do, you could think of this as an assignment. You could add the button for Instagram. So basically what you could do is, again, you go over here to edit with Elementor. So if you have an Instagram page or an Instagram link, you could just simply come down in here. You just drag your button, you drop it right here, and then just simply customize and say view our pictures on Instagram, and then right here you can add the link to Instagram if you wanted to do that. So again, you do have the option to do that as well. I'm gonna go ahead and delete. One more thing just to ensure is for your image carousel, all right here you will have the additional options for autoplay, pause on hover, pause on interaction. So pause on hover, you can choose no for that one, just to ensure that the images are always scrolling by. And of course, you can set your infinite loop, your direction maybe left or maybe go to right instead. You have all these options, and it's really all very subjective. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with left, just update, and there it is. So that's it for adding our gallery. Join me in the next video where we'll now add our blog. I'll see you then. Let's go ahead now and add the blog section on our homepage, and you can see this is what we're trying to accomplish. We'll have our headline, a divider, and 2 blog posts, which will have the featured image, the title of the post, the excerpt, as well as a read more link, and then the read more post button that would actually link to the blog page. But here's the thing though, let me drag the same demo site right here, but with the back end. You will see I have access to certain elements in here, like the post grid as well as the post timeline. But if I was to go to my own site right here, and if I scroll down to the essential add-ons section, you will see that I don't have access to those elements, and you will not see them either. That's because we need to activate them in the backend. What am I talking about? Let me first of all drag this page away. Let's go to the back end, the actual WordPress backend, and you'll see essential add-ons in here. Go ahead, click on it, and now right here where you have elements, you click in there, and right here, this is where you can activate or deactivate elements that you're working with. So let's do this. Okay, I will actually go ahead and disable every single element. All right, and I'll just activate a few, the ones that we would probably use. So I'm going to activate the testimonial element right here, and then right here under your dynamic content elements, I will activate the post grid as well as the post timeline. Let's go ahead now, save our settings. Okay, now we'll go back to the home page, edit with Elementor, and now if I scroll down to the essential add-ons section, you will see we now have access to just a few of the elements. I'm not sure why you can still see better payment, easy jobs, career pages elements. I don't know why, but it's fine. At least now we have access to the post grid as well as the post timeline. So here's exactly what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to drag in our header, which would say visit our blog. So I'm going to drag the heading right here. So I'll say visit our blog. Okay, let's align it to the center. Next up will be the divider, so let's add that one as well. I'm going to align to the center with very short width of about, let's say, 20%, should be fine. And now here's going to be the main thing. We're going to go back. We're going to make use of the post grid. Post timeline, I'll show you how that works when we build out the blog page. But I'm going to drag the post grid right here. And just underneath the divider, let's drop it in there. Okay. Now, posts per page, I'm going to switch this one to 2. Okay, so we only have 2 pages in here. And the thing is, you can source by maybe the author. You can also pick specifically by categories as well. You simply come in here and type in the name of the category, whose post you want to show, and so on. You can offset by maybe 1 post. You can order by the date, the sending, and so on. You have access to all these settings. But the main one that I actually want us to work with is going to be the layout settings right here. So in here, you have just one template layout, which is the default lit, which is fine. But then the columns, we're going to make this one 2. Okay. And now right here, the image size, we're going to go with full. Okay. And there you go. So now things are starting to look a lot better. But then, of course, we can also do things like the show load more if you want to. So when you activate this, you'll see this button right here that will load more blog posts as well. But we're not going to do that. You do have access to a grid style, which there isn't that much of a difference between grid and masonry. I guess when you're showing more posts and you're working with more columns, that's when you'll see the difference. But we'll just stick with masonry for now. Okay, so show the title. Yes, we want to show the title. Show the accept. Yes, but we're going to extend the accept to 50 words. Okay, so there you go, 50. And then 50 letters rather. And then in here, the show with more button. Yes, we want to do that one. Show post terms. We can show this. This would be things like your tags, your categories, and so on. But we're not going to do that one. So we'll just go ahead and hide that. Now, show meta. This is going to be for the author, the date it was published. I'll go ahead and hide that. But again, of course, this is entirely subjective. You are more than welcome to display your meta information if you want to. All right, links right here. You can do things like target blank for your images, no follow. This would be for SEO purposes and so on. All right, let's go over to style and let's see what we have in here. So the post grid style default, you've got style 2, which would have the date. You've got style 3 here, which won't have the date, which is kind of similar to the default. I guess there isn't that much of a difference. And of course, in here, you can do things like change the post background color, add some more spacing if you want to. We're going to come down here to color, typography, and style. So right here, when you hover on the title, you can see right here that it has this color right here. We can simply just change that to black, so there is no change. Okay, it's just basically a link. It's not going to change, but again, very, very subjective. You can add a link right there if you want to. All right, title style. I'm going to come down here to typography. For the decoration, we can go with none. So it's not underlined, but again, entirely subjective. Style, we can go with italic, but I'll just stick with the default. All right, that's for the typography. And then down here, where you have the hover cut style, right now, when you hover on the featured image, you have kind of like this animation, this fading animation, and then with the black background. So you can click in there, and this is where you can change the animation. So instead of fading in, you can do maybe like a zoom in, where it zooms in, or you can do a slide up, so you can see that. And then, of course, you can change the background color as well. Maybe make it something less darkish, you know, so maybe something like this. You can also change the icon that will be displayed. You have all these options available for you. But I'm just going to leave this as it is. Let me just change the color back to something a bit darkish. And yeah, that's okay. That's perfectly fine. And that's it. All right, so last thing we're going to do is to simply add the read more post button. So let's drag our button in here, and I will say read more. And now this link will go to the blog page. So /blog, align to the center. And we're going to make some changes. Let's go to style. The background for the button will be the orange color. And then the text color, of course, would be white. Let's go to the typography, transform uppercase. And let's actually say read more posts. Read more posts, I believe. Let me just take a look. Yeah, so it says read more posts. Okay, so read more posts. And that's it. Let's go back to style again. For the typography, we're going to go back in here. Style, decoration, none. So we don't have any underline button in there. And that's it. You can add your borders and do other things as well. But I think this should be fine for now. So let's go ahead now, update. And that's it. So, you know, you're more than welcome to style this any way you want to. You don't necessarily have to use the exact same colors or the exact same text and so on. And that's it. So one more thing we should do before I round this up is to add some spacing between the gallery section and our blog, as well as the blog and the footer. So let's go back real quick. And of course, we're going to edit the section for our blog, and we're going to add some padding. All right, so let's go in here, edit section, go to advanced, unlink these values. So top, let's add 50, and then bottom, we're going to add 50. All right, and I think that should be enough. Let's go ahead, update. One more time, view the page, scroll down, and that is it. So we've built out the blog page. Join me in the next video where we'll build out the deals and packages section. Let's go ahead and add the next section, which is going to be the deals and packages. And this will be very, very simple, very straightforward. We're going to make use of the call to action button for the essential add-ons. So please go to your essential add-ons backend, and you would find the button in your marketing elements section. Go ahead and activate the call to action. Let's go ahead, save settings. And that's it. So I'm going to go back to my home page, refresh. And now let's scroll all the way down here. Let's actually edit with Elementor first before scrolling down. All right, let's scroll all the way down here. And now I'm going to go to my essential add-ons. And where is our call to action button? It's right here, call to action. So I'm going to drop that in there. And it's very, very straightforward. All we're going to do right here is just to simply change the content style from basic to flex grid. So you now have the button on the right and then the text on the left. And of course, we'll just simply change the title here to deals and packages. Okay, deals and packages. I'm going to change this to an H3 with the orange text. You can, of course, change yours to white or black. And for the text right here, I'm sorry, I'm not going to provide any custom text. We'll just leave it as it is. And then the button text itself, we can change that one. Right here where you have primary button text, we'll simply change this one to shop now. Shop now, and you know, this would link to an external site or maybe another page on your site as well. We're going to go over to style. All right, and then for style right here where you have the primary button style, I'm going to click in there. So what you want to do here is this. Okay, right now when you hover on shop now, you can see that it changes to the blue color. Personally, I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to hover, okay, under your primary button style, hover. Then right here where you have the background color, I'm simply going to just change that one to orange. So now you can see it's orange and not the blue color. So we're trying to keep consistent with the color pattern that we have on our site. That's the only change I am going to make. Let's go ahead now, update, and let's view the page. Let's scroll down. And there it is, deals and packages. Now I know, of course, we need some spacing between the deals and packages as well as the footer, but we're still going to add the reviews section. So that's where we'll add the spacing. So that's it for adding the deals and packages section. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class. Last but not least, we're going to add the reviews section. And of course, this is very often a very important part of any website, because customers or potential customers want to know that other people have done business with your company and that they liked your service. So we're gonna go ahead and add 3 reviews from Bjorn Anderson, Vanessa Carlton, and Raul Gonzalez. Now, the thing is, because we've already activated the testimonial element with the essential add-ons plugin, we do have 2 choices when it comes to adding testimonials, okay? The free version of Elementor does provide you with one. You would find it on the general. So on the general right here, you will see it. It's right here, testimonial, right next to tabs. But then with the essential add-ons, we also have the testimonial element. So let me just show you briefly the difference. With the one from the essential add-ons, you do have access to the rating button right here. So the style is a little bit different. You can see with this is the one from the free version of Elementor. Here you can have the thumbnail or the avatar of the person providing the testimonial below the actual testimonial itself. But with the one for essential add-ons, it's a little bit different. But you do have access to the rating button in here, and you can do several things like, of course, as usual, change the layout alignment, select your style, where you can even have things like the testimonial here on top. You will have the icon and then the image. So you have all these options in here, and it gives you way more options, okay, than the one provided by the free version of Elementor. But with that being said, I'm going to use the free version of Elementor just to get this exact same kind of structure, okay? So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to remove the element, and we'll add a header, and we'll say reviews from past customers. All right, and of course we're going to align to the center, and we're going to add our divider as usual. So let's add the divider, and I think this should be about 25. No, sorry, not 25, but 45%. So 45%. And now we're going to add the inner section element, because we're going to be working with 3 columns. So I'm going to drop that in there. So just like before, what we'll simply do here is that we'll provide the first testimonial from Bjorn Anderson, and then we'll simply duplicate and then change the names as well as the location and avatars for the rest of the testimonials. So very quickly, let's go over here, go to General, and let's add the first testimonial in here. Okay, and this is by Bjorn Anderson. Now, for the title, you could just add the country there instead, okay? So instead of the person's job title, you can simply add the country. So Bjorn Anderson is from Iceland. And right here, I'm going to choose the image. And where is our friend Bjorn? Here he is. You can see he's all smiley, very, very happy. And there it is. All right, so you can see the text size here is pretty small. So what we're going to do right here for the content is we're going to go over to Style. And then where you have typography in here, let's go ahead and then choose the typography button. Now for the size, we're going to go with 18 pixels. And there it is. And what else? That's pretty much it. So we're going to simply go ahead now and then duplicate this section, or rather this column, and duplicate one more time. Delete the last column. And then all we'll simply do in here right now is change Bjorn Anderson to Vanessa Carlton. She too, she's smiling. She's very, very, very happy. Vanessa Carlton. And Vanessa is from the USA. All right, and then we have our last testimonial right here from Gonzalez, from Raul. He's kind of not smiling exactly, but he's not angry either. So Raul Gonzalez, and he's from Spain. Espanol. How do you spell Spain? Spain is S-P-A-I-N. Okay, and there it is. We are done. But one more thing, let's add our padding to the section. So advanced, we're going to go with 50 on top, 50 bottom as well. Update, and voila. Let's go ahead, view the page, and there you go, right down there. So that's pretty much how to add testimonials to your website. Thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next class. Well, welcome back. Felicitación. We have successfully built out our front page, including the header and the footer. And I hope you're enjoying the course thus far. Now, moving on, we're going to build two more pages, the blog page and then the contact page. Now, I know that in the main menu, we do have the features page as well as the about page, but I'm not going to build those just to save time. I don't want to make this course way too long. And also because at this point, you already have an idea of how Elementor works. All that's left right now is just for you to imagine what you want your about page to be like. Do you want to have a big banner? Do you want to have a section with 3 columns? One column has an image, another one has some text, another one has a video. You can do all of that. So I'm going to challenge you to come up with creative ideas of building your own about page or featured page or any other kind of page you might be building on your own site. But we're going to build the blog page specifically because it's a little bit different from your traditional static pages. The blog page contains all your posts. I'm going to show you the different ways how you can build the blog page, and then the contact page will build because it does involve using a plugin called the WP Forms plugin, which many people don't know how to use. So hopefully, once again, I hope you're enjoying the course thus far. You have yourself a wonderful home page. Let's now progress to building out the rest of our pages. Let's continue. All right, so let's go ahead now and build out the blog page, which we've named the articles page on the main menu, but it's actually the blog page. And the first thing we're going to do here is we can't edit with Elementor directly just yet because we actually need to edit the page first from the backend, from the traditional WordPress backend. Right here, we can now click on Edit with Elementor. This will now give us access to the Elementor interface for the page. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to settings and simply hide the page title. And then we'll simply use our own heading and we'll call this one our blog. We're going to set it as an H1. Go to style. Actually, let's align to the center first. Go to style. And then for the typography, we're going to set it as our primary. So if you're not working with the global fonts, you can set this to about maybe 60 pixels or something like that. Like, make sure it's pretty big, right? Next, we're going to add our divider, all right, for the blog, and we'll align it to the center. Set this at 30%, all right? And now check this out, okay? We're going to add posts from different categories. We're going to make use of our post grid from the essential add-ons down here. Now, you do have post timeline, which is actually very interesting. What this will do is that it will display your posts in a vertical timeline, and it is a different style. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but you do have this option if you want to, but I'm not going to work with it. I'm simply going to use the post grid. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, drag the post grid, drop it just underneath the divider. And now look at this, okay? The source is going to be our posts, obviously, but we can query based on the author, the tags, formats, and so on. But we're going to go with categories, okay? So here, I'm going to type in Europe, all right? So we're going to pull in posts from Europe, and the post per page here would be set to 3, all right? And then the layout settings, we'll go with 3 columns. For the image size, we're going to go with full, as usual. Now, you would notice that because I'm using different sizes of my images for the posts, there is a misalignment in terms of height. Like, obviously, the fashion in Istanbul has the taller image. And then, you know, for this in St. Petersburg and Glasgow posts have shorter images. There is a way around this, and you will see it right here. You have image height. So you can simply set a fixed height for your images. The only drawback to this is that sometimes you may not get the best angles. Like, for example, you know, if you made this one taller, then, you know, you may miss out on like the best angle in your images and so on. So that's the only drawback. Ideally, you'd want to use images of the same width and height when it comes to featured images, but it's not a problem. It's okay. All right. So we've got that. What I'll simply do is let's add a heading to indicate that, okay, this is a post from Europe. So I'm going to come in here and say Europe. All right. Now let's make some changes to the actual post grid itself. So layout settings in here, the accept words, we're going to go with 50. All right. Show read more, yes. Show meta, yes. But let's go over to style. And what I'll do here is I will select style number 2. This one will show us the date. It won't show us the avatar or the author's name. So I do prefer this particular style. Now, from under style itself, we're going to go over to the color, typography, and spacing. Here, again, you have the title hover color. We did this earlier. I'm going to change this one to orange. So when they hover on the post link, it turns to orange. And then for the typography, we're going to make some changes in here as well. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, just so that Majestic City of Glasgow can be on one single line. The style, I'm going to go with italic, decoration, none. Okay. And for the read more button, let's also change that one as well. I will find that one down here, read more button style. The text color, we're going to go with orange, just to keep things constant. And then, of course, for the typography, I'm going to click in here, go to decoration, and then set that one to none. And that's it. So we've set it up Europe. We've got our 3 posts. What I'll simply do right now is to simply duplicate Europe, duplicate the post grid right here. So I'll drag Europe, the second one, drop it above here, and then set this one to Asia. Okay. That's going to be the next category. And now for the actual post grid itself, we're going to change the categories in here to Asia. So let me type in Asia. And there it is. And there you go. And then last but not least, let's do the exact same thing again. Duplicate, duplicate. And now I'll drag Asia. Change this one to South America. Come down here to the post grid. Change this one to America. South America. And there it is. So the one more thing we could do is to add some spacing between the post grids. So check this out. Okay, I'll go to my post grid right here, the one for Europe. Go to advanced. Unlink the values, and then I'll set bottom padding of, let's say, 25 pixels, nothing too drastic. We'll do the same thing for Asia as well. Unlink, bottom 25 pixels, and then last but not least, we'll do for South America as well. Unlink, bottom 25 pixels. Let's go ahead now, update, and let us view the page. And there it is. Okay, so we're going to add some spacing for the blog title itself, but take a look at this. Okay, this looks pretty neat and it's actually quite cool. Let me just quickly make that quick change to the blog title. Let's add some spacing. So we're going to go, actually, we'll go to the section button right here, holding all the content. We'll go to advanced, on link, and then we'll simply set 50 pixels for the top. And then 50 pixels for the bottom as well. Okay, update. Now, one more time, let's view the page. And voila, there you go. That is the blog page all built out. However, I want to challenge you to make things more interesting. I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. But with Elementor and with the Essential Add-ons plugin, you have access to so many elements to make your pages look more exciting, more dynamic. As an example, okay, for the Essential Add-ons, I've activated yet another element, and it is the image accordion. You'll find it under Creative Elements right here. You'll see image accordion. go ahead, activate it. Now let's go back to the page in here and let me show you one thing we could do. I'm going to edit with Elementor and we're going to make use of the image accordion. Now check this out, okay? I'm going to scroll down here to our essential add-ons. We have the image accordion element right here. I'm going to click drag and drop it just above Europe. All right. Now, before I begin to edit this, I'm going to add another heading just above the image accordion. And we can call this one latest posts. Just as an example, I'm actually going to add some padding from the top. All right, so let's go with 25 pixels just to give it some distance between the actual blog title and latest posts. And now take a look at this. Okay, I'm going to go to my image accordion, and right here we can do so many things. For the very first accordion in here, I'm going to click inside, change the image in here to be one of the posts. So this one right here, the St. Petersburg post, I'm going to choose the featured image, insert that, and now right here you'll see make it active. Yes, we want to make this accordion active so that it will actually link to the post. So in here right now, I'm going to change the title to visiting St. Petersburg. That's going to be the title, and then in here would be the excerpt. Okay, this would be the excerpt for the text, which we can change. And now right here where you have enable title link, you want to show this, and now right here this is where you would add the link to the post. So let me just quickly do this. Let me view the page real quick. 4 days in St. Petersburg. So right here I am going to grab this link right here. Again, notice you don't need to copy the domain name itself. Just go with the / and then the name of the post, the URL of the post. I'm going to copy this, go right here, go back to edit, click on the very first image accordion in here, and now down here, title link, I'm going to go ahead now and simply paste that. So this will now link to the post 4 days in St. Petersburg. Again, I could do the same thing for the second accordion in here as well. Let's choose the one for the Rainbow Mountain, and then again I can come in here and change the title to the Rainbow Mountain real quick, Rainbow Mountain, and so on. That's for the second accordion. The third accordion, I'll just change this one to the one for Rapa Nui. And then, of course, the last but not least, let's go with the one for Turkey. Fashion in Istanbul. Insert that one. And there it is. So I'm going to go ahead now, update. And now take a look at the improved blog page. So now look at this. You've got blog, you've got latest posts, visiting St. Petersburg. You'll have this Rainbow Mountain. They can click on this one for Rapa Nui, this one for, fashion in Istanbul. And then if they're not interested, they can simply now scroll down to view the posts from Europe, Asia, South America, and so on. So this is one way. Another way how you can make your pages more interactive, more dynamic. You can also add animation as well. Like, you can set it up so that Europe maybe slides in from the left or from the right. I've shown you how to do that on the home page. So just, try to be creative. If you're not happy with how static your page feels like, you can always spice things up by making use of creative elements, adding some animation, and you'll see a massive improvement in how dynamic your pages are. So that's it for building out the blog page. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next class. Alrighty, so we've built out the blog page, and now let us build out another very important page, and that's going to be the contact page. Now, ideally, of course, on your contact page, you want to have some sort of contact form, maybe even some Google map if you have a physical location. We don't have a physical location, but we're going to add a contact form. Now, there are several plugins out there for creating contact forms, and in fact, if you're using the paid version of Elementor, you will have the form element, but we're using the free version of Elementor, so we're going to install another plugin. And this plugin is called the WP Forms plugin. So let me type in WP Forms. And it's the one right here. All right, so let's go ahead, install. and we're going to now activate the plugin. And all right, so we're just going to go ahead and click on create your first form right here. And the good thing about this particular plugin is that it integrates very well with Elementor. I'm going to type in name right here. So that's going to be the contact form. That will be the name of this form. So contact form. All right. And now in here, you do have our different templates. We're going to choose the simple contact form. In fact, we can view the demo in here. You can see this is the demo right here. Very, very simple. You will have the name, email, and then message fields. So that should suit our purposes. I'm going to go ahead and simply click on use template. And that's it. So we're just going to make a few changes. So the way the plugin works is that right here, you've got the fields available for you with the free version. There is a paid version where you have access to these fancy fields and payment fields and so on, but we don't need them. So the change I'm going to make here would be to edit the name field. So I'm simply going to click inside. And right here, you do have the format. I prefer the simple format where you just have one single line for the name. But, you know, you have first, middle, last, and first, last, and so on. Under advanced, you can change the field size to large, to small, depending on your taste and what you prefer. You can add your CSS classes in here. You've also got Smart Logic, which, oops, I'm sorry about that. I forgot. This is only available with the paid version. Anyway, for the field options, that's it. So you can go back in here and add additional fields like a drop down, check boxes if you wanted to. Under setup in here, under settings rather, right here, this is where you can change things like the actual form name itself. You can change the text for the button. And then for notifications, this is where you can set up the kinds of notifications you want to receive. So whenever anybody sends or fills out the contact form, we want to be notified. So in here, by default, the admin email associated with your WordPress website will be in here, but you can add your own custom email. And let me just show you something, okay? Right here, where you have from name, by default, it will be set to your website's name, but it will make a lot more sense to set this to the actual name of the person sending the message. So right here, click on show smart tags and simply choose the name field or your first name, last name, depending on the kind of field that you have for the name. And then same for from email as well. We'll simply choose the email field, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and simply save. You do have the confirmations in here as well, like, okay, what happens once they filled out the contact form? Do they get a message? If so, this is where you can edit the message. You can show them a particular page, maybe a special page you've created, or you can simply redirect them to an external URL if you wanted to, but we're not going to do any of that. Let's go ahead now, simply just save one more time, close this. And now we're going to go over to the contact page. All right, let's go ahead and edit the page first of all from the WordPress backend. And then from here, I'm going to click on edit with Elementor so we can now use the Elementor interface. And check this out. All right. Oops, I forgot to do one thing. My apologies. We need to enable the WP Forms add-on for the Essential Add-ons plugin. So let's quickly do this. I'm going to go to Essential Add-ons in here. All right. And let's go to Elements. And then right down here, you have the Form Styler elements. You will see WP Forms. Let's go ahead and now activate that. You can see you have access to other kinds of forms like, Fluent Forms, Gravity Forms, which is actually very, very good, Ninja Forms, and so on. Anyways, let's go ahead, save our settings. And all right, I'm going to close this. Let's refresh this page one more time. And okay, so the thing about WP Forms is that even with the free version of Elementor, you will have access to the element once you've installed and activated the plugin. You can see it right here under Basic. You have WP Forms by Elementor. So I'm going to click drag inside in here, and I'll show you the difference between this one and the one provided by Essential Add-ons. Let's go back, scroll all the way down here. Let's add the one for Essential Add-ons into a different section. And now you're going to see the main difference. Okay, this is the one for the essential add-ons. I'm going to choose the contact form right here where it says select form. Let's choose that. Now right here, compare this one with the one up here. Let's go with the one for Elementor first. Let's choose the contact form as well. The thing is, you only have access to the kind of form to choose, the display options. Okay, do you want to show the form name, description, and then advanced? There's nothing more to it. However, for the one with essential add-ons, you have access to a lot more. You can show the description, labels, placeholder. You even have error messages. Do you want to show error messages or do you want to hide them? So say, for example, if somebody didn't fill out the name field and then they pressed submit, do you want to display the error message or not? You have access to plenty of styling options. You can add a form background color. You can align the form, add your width margins. You have all sorts of styling options for the title and description, labels, and so on. All these styling options, you don't get them with the one with the element provided by the free version of Elementor. That's why I prefer to use the one provided by Essential Add-on. So I'm going to go ahead and close this one by Elementor, and let's just work on this one. Very, 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 very simple. We're not going to make any huge changes in here, except we will simply hide the title of the form. Everybody knows it's a contact form, so there is no need to change anything in here. One thing we will do though is to hide the page title, and then we'll add our own heading. All right, and we'll simply choose this one as an H1, go to style, typography, choose primary, and we'll simply call this one contact us. And that's it. We'll add some padding to the section. On link values, we're gonna go with 50 on top, and then 50 below. And actually, come to think of it, the contact us is actually very, very large, but it's okay. Let's just align this one to the middle, and we'll just add some padding for the actual form itself. So I'm going to click on the form element. Let's go to advanced, and we'll also add some padding as well, just to give it some distance between the actual title and the form itself. So go ahead now, update. And that's it. I'm going to go ahead now and view the page. And that's it for the contact us page. Now, again, you can make this a bit more exciting. You can go with maybe 2 columns as opposed to 1 section. In the first column, you can add an image of somebody, maybe calling, or somebody sending an email, stuff like that. So there are different ways to modify the contact us page and make it more exciting if you wanted to. But this is very, very simple, very, very straightforward, and it suits our purposes. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next class. Alrighty, so technically we have finished building our website. We have the home page, we have the blog page, and we also have a contact page as well as the header and footer. But there is one very, very important thing that we need to take care of, and that is going to be responsive design. Always remember that so many people nowadays use their mobile phones to browse the internet, and if anybody stumbles across your website on their mobile phone, you want to make sure that it looks good. So what we're going to do for the rest of this section is I'm going to show you how you can reconstruct the header, the home page, the footer, and the other pages to look responsive, so that if it's viewed on a tablet device or on a mobile device, it will look good. Let me just give you a very, very quick demonstration. Right now, this is for the tablet view. You can see I have reduced the size of my screen to that of a tablet, and you can see right now that it still looks very, very, very good. We don't have any issues with spacing. The header looks fine. Testimonial section looks fine. The footer looks fine. But now if I scroll all the way down to the smallest screen size, which will typically be your mobile phone, let me go back to the top. Now you can see that the header looks different. We have a black background. We do have our logo. We do have the main menu right here, which is now the hamburger menu, which you've seen many times before. And then if I scroll down again, you can see that it looks good all the way down here to the footer. So responsive design is extremely important. So coming up, I'm going to show you how you can make changes to your website so that it looks good on any mobile device. Let me just also quickly mention that when it comes to responsive design, there are a few concepts you should be aware of. One would involve doing things like reducing margins or patterns that you've added in the desktop version. For example, remember that with the homepage banner for the section, we had to add an outrageous amount of negative margin. I think it was minus 222 pixels. So when it comes to mobile versions or responsive versions, you might have to reduce that size, or maybe even in certain situations increase the size. So adjustments to margins and patterns will be necessary. Also, there are times when you just need to hide certain kinds of elements when viewed on a mobile device, because it might look great on the desktop. An example would be a video. A video would look great on the desktop, but on a mobile device, it may not necessarily be that great. Same thing applies with animations as well. Animations will look good on the desktop, they'll work well on the desktop, but a mobile phone might have trouble displaying that animation. So the whole point of responsive design is sacrifice. You make changes, you remove certain features so that when viewed on a mobile device, it will be great. So that's it for the very quick introduction to responsive design. Let's now get started with it. All right, so let's begin to design our header to be responsive, and let me just show you the state as it is right now. So desktop is pretty much done. When we begin to minimize the screen of our browser, you can see now that at this point, this would be like the tablet view, and you can see that the logo becomes a lot smaller. The menu has also transformed into the traditional hamburger menu. And it's okay, but it can definitely be improved. But then if we go a little bit smaller, now you can see this is where things look really, really bad. This is the mobile view, the one for the mobile phone. So we need to make some changes in here. I'm going to go ahead and actually, before I do that, let me show you the other header, the global header. So let's go to the contact page, and you will notice that this one is a little bit better. We have the black background, and then on mobile view, even though the hamburger menu is misaligned with the logo, it's still much better because we don't have any white space at the top. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and edit the homepage header. So let's go to edit with Elementor and then homepage header. Now we're gonna switch to the responsive mode. So down here, responsive mode, let's switch to tablet first. Now I want to show you something real quick. All right, let me go back to responsive. Yeah, so by default, your main menu or your featured menu in here will turn into the hamburger menu on tablet view. However, note that you don't always have to follow the default settings. Okay, right now if I switch to tablet, you can see it has turned to the hamburger menu, and that's because if I was to click and edit the main menu under layout, you will see the responsive breakpoint tablet. So screen sizes of 1025 pixels and below show the hamburger menu. But what if we don't want to do that? I'm going to switch this one to the mobile view instead. So at tablet view, we will still have the main menu showing, and we only transform to the hamburger menu once we reach the mobile view. Let's go ahead, update, and let's see what this little change has done for us. All right, view the page. Go back to the home page. All right, and okay, so now at this point, this is tablet view, and you can see that it's actually not that bad. You don't have to switch to the hamburger menu once it reaches tablet. Of course, if you had many menu items, say 6, 7, 8 items, then yes, obviously you won't have enough space. But in situations where you've got like 4, 5 menu items, it's perfectly fine for you to display them as they are in the tablet mode. So there's 2 changes I'm going to do in here. One would be to increase the size of the logo just a little bit, and then we could also try to reduce the size of the menu items just a little bit. So let's do this real quick. I'm going to go back to the homepage header, and we're going to switch to responsive tablet. All right, I'm going to click on the menu, the logo rather here, edit logo, go to style. Now notice right now that the dimension in here has been set to tablet. As you can see, it all says tablet. So here I'm going to switch the size to 100%. So we're going to show the full size of the logo. And now for the main menu, I know it's all in white, you can't see, but just bear with me. I'm going to click on edit, the main menu, go to style, and then we're going to go to typography right here. Now, watch this. Make sure the size here is set to tablet. We're going to make this one 14 pixels, just a little bit smaller than usual. Let's update. And now let's take a look at the new homepage header in responsive mode. And there you go. There you go. So up until this point, it's looking quite good. Obviously, we're going to make some major changes to the banner headline, the where travel meets adventure. We're going to reduce the size, but just pay attention to the actual header. So, okay, it looks good up until the mobile view, which we'll now have to work on. But for now, tablet-wise, this is looking quite good. Let's now take a look at the header for the global header. Let's pick a page. Let's pick the articles page. And from here, we're going to go ahead to edit the global header. So we're going to handle the tablet mode first. So let's come down here to responsive, go to tablet. All right, we're going to handle the breakpoint. We're going to switch that one to mobile. And we'll just do the exact same thing for the style as well. We're going to align to the right for the main menu, alignment to the right. And then the style, we're going to come down here to typography. Make sure this is set to tablet. So we'll go with 14 pixels as well. And there it is. Okay. Next is going to be the logo. Let's not forget, we need to make the logo 100%. Make sure this is set to tablet. So 100%, fine. And now we're going to switch to the mobile view. The only thing we need to do right here would be to align the navigation menu to the center. Actually, we shouldn't have touched the alignment in the tablet mode, so it's okay. We'll just reset this back. So I'm going to go to content, layout, and then the alignment here. Let's just keep it on the center. I think that will be better. All right, that is it. I'm going to go ahead now, update, and let's take a look at what we have. Let's view the page. Let's pick the articles page. Okay, reduce the size. What do we have in here? All right, so this is tablet. Tablet is looking good. And now here, this is going to be the mobile view, but there seems to be a misalignment with the logo and then the menu itself. So let's quickly fix that. Let's go back. We need to make the logo actually maybe a little bit smaller. I think it's a little bit too big as well. So let's make those changes. Go back to responsive, mobile. Okay, let's edit the logo first. Alignment here, let's set it to the center. Okay, let's set this one to the center. And then maybe the size, maybe 100% is a bit too large, now that I think about it. So let's bring this down to 75%. Okay, let's go ahead, update. And let's see what this will look like. Let's go back, view the page. Articles. Minimize. Okay, much better now. Now you can see the alignment is at the center. And there it is. So looking much better right now. Of course, we're still going to make some more, a few more changes to the headers. But for now, at least, it's looking a lot better than what we had initially. Both the homepage header and the global header are looking better. We'll handle the white spacing in the homepage header in the very next video. Alright, so welcome to part 2 of redesigning the responsive header. And I forgot to mention in the previous video, when I changed the size of the menu items in here, for some reason it seemed to have affected the desktop version. You can see right now that the text are no longer uppercase. So if something like this happens, just simply go back to editing the homepage header. And what you want to do is just simply to go to the menu element. So I'm going to click on the menu element right here. I'll go to style, go to typography right here, and just click on it. That's all. You can see right here, it says transform to uppercase. So we're basically just reaffirming that, hey, we do want the letters to be uppercase. So I'm going to go ahead, update again, and let's just go back, view the page. And let's go to the home page. Okay, and there you go. So honestly, I'm not quite sure why that happens, but just in case it does happen to you, just simply do what I just did. Okay, Now, previously we were able to get the tablet view to look like this, which isn't bad at all. But now it is time for us to take a look at the mobile view, and you can see right now it looks really bad. There's plenty of white space, and the logo and the menu, the hamburger menu, are kind of aligned, but we do need to fix the white space. Now, actually, this is the second time I am recording this particular video, because in the previous one, I actually was able to fix the mobile header to have the exact same kind of style where you'll have the banner blending into the background. However, I have decided to go with a different route and instead use the same kind of header we have for the rest of the pages, like the one here where you have the black background. I've decided to use this header for the homepage header and mobile view. And the reason why is because I actually wanted to use this opportunity to show you a very cool trick that you can use whenever you're working with responsive design. Let's go back to the home page, okay? And I want to show you something, all right? I'm going to go to edit with Elementor by editing the homepage header. Now here's the thing, okay? I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this header section, okay? So I'm going to right click in here, duplicate. So basically now we have two headers. But the difference is I'm going to come in here, go to this edit section, and I'm going to go to style, background type, give it the color of black. Okay. Now, check this out. I'm going to go to advanced, come down here to responsive, and then right here you have visibility options. When exactly would you like to show this section based on the screen size? Are we going to hide it on desktop? Yes. We don't want to show this on the desktop yet because we're still using the homepage header. On tablet, we also want to hide it on tablet, but then we want to show it when it gets to the mobile view. As such, I am now going to go to our original header and do the opposite. Go to advanced, come down here to responsive, and then hide on desktop. No, we want to show. We want to show on tablet, but we're now going to hide on mobile. Let me go ahead now, update, and take a look at this. Okay, let's go ahead now, view the page. Let's go to the home page. And okay, so you can see we still have the same header, but now for the tablet view, you can see we still have the same header, the same header, the same header. But now, once it gets to the mobile view, we now have the black background with the logo right there in the center, and then the hamburger menu down there, and then we have the homepage banner, and there you go. So this is one trick that you can use whenever you're working with responsive design. You can choose to show a particular section specifically on desktop, and you can choose to show a particular section specifically only maybe on tablet or on mobile. A question I might have here though is, okay, why didn't I just simply duplicate this particular header and then simply use that header on the home page and then simply hide it on desktop and tablet and then display it on mobile? You can't have two headers being displayed on any page with Elementor. At least that's how this plugin works. Okay, so if you were thinking of just simply duplicating this header and showing two headers on the same page, hide one on desktop, show the other one on mobile, it's not going to work because I actually tried it. That's why I had to go to the homepage header and then on that same header create a second section which will now display specifically on the mobile view. But we're not done. I actually want to do something else. See, you don't always have to go with this format where you have the logo and the center on top and then the hamburger menu below it. We can still use two columns here, have the logo on the left and have the menu on the right. Let's do that. So I'm going to go back, edit with Elementor, the homepage header. Okay. And let's wait for this page to load. Okay, so I'm editing the second header right now. But I'm going to switch now to responsive mode. Let's go to the mobile view. Okay, and here's exactly what we have. All right. So right here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to click on the column holding the logo. Right here, I'm going to say 50. And then I'll come down here to the logo, column holding the logo. I'm sorry, holding the menu rather. And then change that one to 50 as well, so that they are side by side. Now, let's make some changes. I'm going to click on the edit menu icon. Come down here to layout. Let's try to align to the right. And then we're going to make it big. Let's go over to style. Down here, you will have the menu trigger and close icon. Click inside. And now icon size, I'm going to make this one about 40 pixels. Okay, that should be big enough. And then for the logo, let's edit the logo as well. Image size is set to full. Align to the left. Let's go to style. Max width at 100%. Okay, let's go ahead now. Update. Actually, before we update, let's also do this. See, when you click on the hamburger menu, this is going to be the drop down, but you can see right now that we can't see the text. The text is all white, so we need to make some changes in here. So here's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to go to drop down, understand, drop down right here, and then background color, we're going to go with black. Text color, we're going to go with white. And that should be that. I don't know why we don't see it here yet, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead, update. Let's go back, view the page. Okay, go back to the home page. Minimize the window. All right, so now you can see, okay, we've got the logo on the left, the menu on the right. Now, if you click on the menu right here, it opens up, but we still can't see the text. That is interesting. Okay, let's go back and see what might have happened. And yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I'm not quite sure why we don't see the text. All right, no worries. I'm going to come in here to responsive mode, switch back to mobile. Click on the menu right here. Click on the drop down. Why don't we see the text? Let's go to style. Let's come down here to typography and wow. Okay. I'm not entirely sure why the size here is set to 1, but it shouldn't be 1. It should be a little bit bigger than 1. I'd say probably 14 pixels. So my apologies. I'm not entirely sure why it gave me 1 pixel. Sometimes I feel Elementor is trying to prevent me from making good videos. I honestly don't know why it said 1 pixel. That's just bizarre. Okay, anyways, now you can see that at least the menu items are now showing. Wow, that's very, very interesting. I'm telling you, web design can be a very strange occupation sometimes, you know. You feel like all these elements have a mind of their own. Okay, so let me just go back. All right, so now I click in here. Okay, so there you go. So now you can see we've got the menu items. And of course, you can now close. So that's basically it for redesigning the responsive header. I'm actually going to go ahead and do the exact same thing for the global header. For the mobile view, where I'll make the first column 50%, and then make the second column holding the menu item 50% as well. And also make the menu hamburger icon a little bit bigger. So you can go ahead and do that as well. But that's it for creating the responsive headers for the website. Thank you for watching. Join me in the very next video where we'll now take a look at redesigning the footer to be a bit more responsive. I'll see you then. So now let's take a look at the footer and try to make it responsive. And let me go over to the tablet view first. And from here, it actually still looks pretty good. I don't think we need to make any changes in the tablet view. But once we get to the mobile view, this is where we have a bit of a spacing issue. You can see the contact heading is a bit too close to the image. And if we go really small, then it's the same thing, except the image right now looks very, very blurred. So perhaps the best option for us on the mobile view would just be to simply remove this image. Let's go ahead and edit with Elementor the global footer. All right, I'm going to switch to responsive tablet first of all, just to confirm. All right, so responsive mode, let's go to tablet. So yeah, so tablet looks fine. It looks fine. I don't think we need to change anything except maybe, actually, you know what? From the tablet view, the image is already looking kind of blurry. That's because it's a bit too tall. So what we can do is this. We can reduce the size of the first column and increase the one of the second column. So let's see what 50 will do. So it's 50, and then the one on the right as well is going to be 50. But the image is still a little bit blurred, so that's not that great. All right, let's go back in here. Let's try to make some adjustments. Maybe make this one, let's say 66. I think 66 is fine. And then we'll simply make the second column 33 so that it could be on the same line. Okay, this is still fine, I guess, okay? But what about the mobile view? Okay, now you can see that the image is just way too blurred. And sometimes it's best to just remove and not show certain kinds of elements in the mobile view. So what we simply do here is this, okay? We're going to click on the column, edit column. We'll go to advanced. And just like we did previously, we're going to hide on mobile, and that's it. So let's go ahead now, update. And let's take a look at what we're going to have. Let's view the page. Go to the home page. Okay, let's scroll down. And okay, so the only thing we need to do right now is to add some padding for the contact heading. Let me just go back to the tablet view just to confirm that it's okay. So yeah, tablet view is fine. It's the mobile view where we're going to need to add some spacing with the contact button. So let's quickly do this. We're going to go back, edit with Elementor, global footer, and we'll just add some padding to the footer itself. That's what we'll simply do. All right, let's go to responsive mode, mobile, and okay, so we're going to edit the section right here, edit in a section, advanced, and we'll just add some padding. Okay, so padding from the top, 25 pixels should be reasonable. Oh, sorry, not from the top, but actually from the top. Yes, from the top. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead, update. Let's view the page. Page, minimize, scroll down, and that is it. So now the footer looks much better. Okay, so join me in the very next video where we'll now take a look at making the home page responsive, and in particular the homepage banner. All right, so let's take a look at making the home page responsive, and for the most part, it's actually not that bad. This is for the tablet view. Obviously, we can make the headline a little bit smaller, make the banner also a little bit shorter in height. And right here, of course, we can add some padding to the We Love to Travel section, as well as the Travel to Best Places section as well. But I think that's all we need to do, because the rest is actually quite good. The unique travel design section looks fine. The gallery is fine. Visit our blog section is fine. Deals and packages, reviews, all fine. However, for the mobile view, which is what we have right here, obviously we're going to have to make the text much smaller, as you can see, and also add padding in here as well for the travel section. And we need to do something about the fact that we do have the two images for the second section lining up next to each other. Ideally, it should be We Love to Travel, and then this image, and then travel to the best places, and then the image of this mountain. So we're going to have to do something about that as well. Other than that, the rest of the page looks quite good. You can see the gallery is now one single row, which is fine. The blog section is also one single row as well. And rather two rows, I'm sorry. And then deals and packages, reviews are all now in their own separate column, in their own separate row, as you can see. And that's it. All right, so let's go ahead and begin to make the changes. So let's edit with Elementor. We're gonna handle the banner first, because that's the main issue. All right. Responsive tablet. Okay, what do we have here? We're going to go ahead now and edit the text. And on the desktop, it was about 120 pixels, as you can see. So we're going to have to break this down just a little bit much smaller. So let's say 88 pixels, right? But don't forget that we set a height for the section. So let's go over to the section right now. And when we have the minimum height here, we're going to reduce this as much as we can. Don't worry about the text overlapping the header for now. But let's try to give it a reasonable height for the tablet. I think 590 might be a bit too small. Let's say 700, right? 700 seems fine enough. And then from here, don't forget that we also give it negative margins as well. So now that we've reduced the size from 1000 to 700, we might as well also go to advanced. And then right here, don't be fooled by the fact that you don't see anything inside the margin boxes. It's actually inheriting the margins from the desktop view. So here, let's go ahead now and try to reduce this. Oh, sorry, we forgot to unlink. Let's make this one 0. All right, I'm going to keep on going up again. And this should be about, let me just give it 150. Minus, okay, I can't do that. Let me just try this. Minus 150. Okay, I think that's a bit too much. Let's go down. Let's go down. Okay, so it should be around 123. Let's just make it 125. Okay, so 125 pixels. And now for the text itself, for the header, we could make this a little bit smaller again. And that's it. What do you think? I think this is fine. 80 pixels for the header. And we've reduced the height of the section to 700 pixels. Reduced the negative margin as well. And yeah, I think this is fine. Although, be careful. Do you see right now that if we expanded the tablet to the maximum screen size, you can see we now have the white space showing up. So that should tell us right now that, okay, hold on a second. We need to increase the negative margins actually. So that's another thing you should be aware of. Whenever you're applying negative margins in responsive mode, make sure you apply your negative margins to the biggest screen size possible. So this is the biggest screen size possible for the tablet view at 1024 by 878. So we're going to increase, or rather in this case, reduce the negative margin, because when we're negative, we are reducing. And that is so 158 just about does it. So now, if we bring this down to the smallest size for tablet, you are still not going to see any white space. And that's that. Okay, I think this is fine for the tablet. Let's now make some changes to the first, or like the second section in this case right now. So what do we need to do? For the tablet, we can add some padding. All right, so we're going to go in here, edit section. Let's go to advanced. And right here, let's just add some padding. We can go with the usual 25 pixels and then 25 pixels for the bottom as well. Let's scroll down here. We'll do the exact same thing in here as well. I'm going to show you something really cool. 25 pixels from the top and then 25 pixels from the bottom as well. All right. Now, if you look at this, you'll realize that it actually doesn't look that great. I mean, you've got an image right here, but the text column is a little bit too large. It's a little bit too tall. Same goes with the second section as well. So what exactly can we do? The simplest thing we could do would be to simply make each column go 100% in width, so that instead of having two columns, we'll have two columns side by side. We'll have two columns on top of each other. So as an example, right here, if I gave this first column in here, we're just going to give this one 100. All right, 100. And then we're going to give this column also 100. And there it is. All right. Now, even if we expand to the biggest possible size on a tablet, I think it looks okay. This looks fine on a tablet. Just make sure the images are large enough. So one change we'll just need to do right here would be to add some padding to this Learn More button. So I'm going to click in there, go to Advanced, Padding, and then we'll just add at the bottom. Okay, we'll add some padding in here. Let me see, 25 pixels might be a little bit too much in this case. Maybe 15 pixels. Okay, 15 pixels is fine. And there it is. Okay, let's do the exact same thing here as well. So I'm going to click on this column right here. And then go to the column width. I'm going to give it 100. And then the second column in here as well, 100. Okay, and then take a look at this. Ideally, we want to have this column right here on top of this column. So how do we do that? What we're going to do is to simply go to this section, hold in these two columns, go to section, go over here to advanced, and then right here on the responsive, you're going to see this option to reverse the columns. We're going to do that on tablet, and we're going to do that on mobile as well. Now you can see that the travel to best places column is now on top of the mountain, and that's exactly how to do that. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and add some padding to the Learn More button in here. Padding at the bottom, 15 pixels, I believe it was. And there it is. Okay, so let's go back on top, scroll down. Okay, we got plenty of spacing. Alrighty, okay. Looking good, looking good. Now let's try to reduce the size to the smallest and see if there's anything we need to do in here. Nope. Looks okay. Looks perfectly fine. And there it is. Okay. So that's it for the tablet view. What about the mobile view? Let's switch to mobile. Okay. All right. So obviously the banner in here, we'll need to fix that one. But let me just quickly scroll down in here and see the rest of the page. So the rest of the page looks actually quite good. Yep, this looks good. Everything is now in one single column each. The reviews in one column, and then the contact page. Okay, so all we need to do right now would be to handle the banner. So let's do this, okay? I'm going to scroll up here. Let's go over to the section. All right, the first thing we'll do right now is for the height. All right, so minimum height, 700 pixels. This is, of course, inherited from the tablet view. Let's see if we can actually maybe increase the size a little bit, actually. Okay, I think 879. Let's try to get something a little bit even, like 870 pixels, maybe. Okay, let's try to increase the size a little bit to the largest size for the mobile view. Now you would notice there's a little bit too much of a negative margin because you can see the blue line and you can see the logo showing up above. So what we're going to have to do right now is to go to advanced, and then for the negative margins, let's try to, actually we don't need any negative margins. Actually we're just going to make it 0. Yeah, let's just make it 0 since we have a black background anyway. So we'll just make that one 0. So this is for mobile. All right, so from here, let's reduce the height. We're going to reduce the height of the page now, of the banner rather, to something reasonable. Let's see. I think 535. What about 530? Yep, I think this is fine. 530 looks fine. Scroll down. Okay, yeah, I think it should be fine. Let's make it now very small and see. Okay, so the text is a bit too large actually. So let's do this. I'm going to go over to edit the heading, typography. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to make this as small as we can. And now if we expand to the largest for the mobile view, what you have here is, okay, so this brings us to a new discussion. See, the thing is, right here, at the largest size for mobile, the text is a bit too small. So if we try to increase the size here so it looks good on the highest possible screen size for the mobile, the issue right now is that if we reduce the screen size to the smallest possible size for mobile, now the text is a bit too large. What you can do in this kind of scenario is to switch the style size unit from pixels to the view port, right? The VW option in here. The VW is the viewport width. What this will try to do is it will try to adjust the size of the text based on the width of the screen size. So check this out. Okay, I'm going to go switch over now to VW, and let's try to go with the size of 10 for the highest. Okay, so this is at the highest size, screen size for mobile. And then if we reduce the size up onto the smallest, you can see that the text is actually also reducing as we reduce the size of the screen. So that's one tip I can give you right now. Just simply switch to VW as opposed to pixels. Okay, so perhaps maybe one little thing we could do, one final thing we could do, again, would be to reduce the height a little bit further to, let's say, 450 pixels. That should be the last change. Let's try to make this one smaller. And there you go. Okay, I think this is fine. This is fine at this point. All right. There you go. Let's just scroll down, see what else we can do. Nah, that's pretty much it. I think we're fine. Let me just make this one really small. Everything is in one column. And there it is. Okay, one last thing we could do is maybe reduce the size of the button here just a little bit. So let's go ahead, edit the button. And right here, we're going to go to style. Actually, we're going to go to style. And then for the typography right here, let's click in there. So size, make sure, of course, this is set to mobile. And then we'll just go ahead and maybe make this one, let's see, 14 pixels maybe. 14 pixels. What else can we change? We can, of course, change the border radius as well. So let's bring this one down to, let's say, 5 pixels. And there it is. Okay, now here we could try to make the size too small. I actually haven't tested this. I'm not sure if this would affect the tablet view. Yes, it's going to affect the tablet view and even the desktop view. It will always be small. So this is up to you. You could decide to just make the button small all across all three screen sizes, or you could just go with medium. I think medium will be fine for mobile. All right, that's it. I'm going to go ahead now, update. And there it is. We've successfully built out the responsive homepage. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you in the next class. All right, so let's start working with Elementor Pro by rebuilding our header, and I'll show you how templates work with Elementor Pro. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the back end, and let's go ahead and deactivate the Elementor header and footer builder. We no longer need that. So I'm going to deactivate, and let's just take a look at the non-existent header that we don't have anymore, and of course no footer. Now you can still see the when travel meets adventure and then the copyright text in here. This is the hello theme displaying this footer for us. All right, let's go back in here, and once you've installed and activated Elementor Pro, you will see right here where you have templates under Elementor, you will see the theme builder. So go ahead, click in here, and right now you can see the different kinds of templates we can build. We're going to build out the header, so I'm going to click on plus to add the header. And the good thing about Elementor Pro is that you'll have access to a very wide variety of templates that you can use. So you can see them right here, different styles for the header. You can see some, you'll have like the logo on the left, the social media icons on the right, the main menu below. So you can just quickly insert any one of these templates that closely match the kind of design that you want. But I'm going to go ahead and simply build ours from scratch because I want to show you how this works with the Elementor Pro elements. So I'm going to close this, and we're simply going to rebuild just like before. I'm going to come in here right now, create our 2-column section, one that will be about 30%, the other one about 70%. And now if I go over here to the Elementor backend, right now you can see we have the site logo right here. So I'm going to drag that one, drop it inside. And now the thing is, you might notice a change with the Elementor Pro logo element. And that is the fact that you actually have access to the height of the logo under style. With the logo element provided by the Elementor header and footer builder plugin, you don't have these options. So you can actually control the height of the logo from here, but we're not going to touch that just yet. I'm going to go over to the backend again, choose the nav menu element right here, drop it inside here, and of course main menu will choose, let's align to the right. Breakpoint, we're going to set this one to mobile, remember. Let's go over to style, typography, we'll make this one uppercase. Let's go back to the main section itself, holding both columns. Let's make it full width. And for the logo, let me just go ahead and add a black background so at least temporarily we can see the logo. Okay, so much too large. Let's go back in here. And for the max width, we'll just go ahead and choose 75%, just like we did previously. No need to use the height in this case. One more change, let's align the menu items, vertical align them to the middle, and there you go. And of course the color as well, I forgot about that. Let's change the color, text color to primary, and that is that. Now take a look at this. Okay, down here where you have publish, when you hit publish, this is where Elementor Pro will now say, hey, where would you like to display this particular template? We're going to add the condition, not the entire site, because this is going to be for the home page. So I'm going to come in here right now and choose singular. And then for singular, it will say, okay, all single pages, no. We want to display it specifically on the front page. So I'm going to choose that one. And that is it. I'm going to go ahead now, simply save and close. And that is it. Let's go ahead now and refresh. And I'm going to show you something very, very, very interesting. All right, let me do a hard refresh. Okay, so here's the thing, all right? You can see that we do have the menu items right here showing up. Oh, by the way, the hover effect that you can see, the dash appearing under each menu item, that's provided by Elementor Pro menu element by default. So you can change that on the hover effect if you want to. But the main issue here right now is that we no longer see the logo, right? We can see the menu items, but we don't see the logo. What is happening here? This is where I would like to introduce to you the concept of the Z index. Now, let's go back in here. Let me first of all remove the background color, all right, for the header. We no longer need that. But take a look at this. I'm going to go over to advanced. Right here, you have this little option, but very, 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 very important, very powerful, called the Z index. And I'm going to give this one a value of 2. Okay. Update. Let's go back in here. Let's do a very hard refresh. And just like that, now you can see the logo appearing. But hold on a second, what exactly just happened? See, this Z index value right here, whenever you have one element or one section overlapping another section, you might want to be able to tell Elementor which of those elements you want to show first. Basically, which one do you want to bring in front of the other? In this case right now, we do have the banner image overlapping our header, but we want the header to be in front so we can see the logo and the main menu. As such, you will have to give a higher Z index number to the element that you want to appear in front. Since we've given the header the Z index value of 2, and let me actually go to the section holding our banner. So let me edit with Elementor. Let's go to the navigator section right here, advanced. You can see right here that we don't have any value for the Z index for the section holding the banner. But if I came in here right now and I give it a value of 3, now you can see we no longer see the logo, we no longer see the main menu either. That's because the Z index value of the section holding the banner is now greater than 2. So, but if I give it 1, now you can see we have the main menu and the logo. That's exactly how the Z index works. Now, a question you might have, and a very good question, is, Alex, hold on a second. Before we gave the value of the Z index of 2 to the header, how come we still saw the main menu, but we didn't see the logo? I will be 100% honest with you. I'm not exactly sure why that happened. I'm guessing maybe there is some code within Elementor that always gives priority to the main menu to always show. Again, it might be something very, very simple that I'm simply missing. I'm not entirely sure, and I do apologize for that, but I'd like to be honest with you. But just take it for what it is. Whenever you run into this kind of situation where you have one element overlapping the other and you want that other element behind to show in front, simply give it a higher Z index value. One thing you may have noticed is the sudden white space that's now appearing right here at the very top, and this happens because Elementor by default in many instances will add a padding of 10 pixels around their element. So one way to bypass this kind of issue is to simply edit the section that has the white space. In this case right now it's my header. So let me go ahead, edit the Elementor header, and we're going to go to the section itself. So edit section, and then right here where you have the columns gap, I'm going to say no gap. All right, no gap at all. Let's update. So basically by saying no gap, we're saying, hey, we don't want any paddings anywhere. Now, this will get rid of the white space, but now notice because we've said no gaps at all, now the column holding our logo no longer has any padding between the logo and the top of our screen. So very simply, just go to the column holding the logo, go to advanced padding right here. We'll just give it, say, 10 pixels of padding at the top, update, and that will solve the issue instantly. So these are some of the very little annoying issues you might run into when using Elementor and how to bypass them. We're almost done. Let's go ahead and create the mobile header for our header, and for the front page rather, and it's the exact same thing that we did previously. We're going to come in here right now, duplicate the entire section. Let's come down here to the mobile header, edit the section. We're going to go to style, classic color of black, okay? And then what else do we need to do? We need to switch to the responsive mode. Go to mobile, and now right here, edit column, we're going to say 50%. Do the same thing for the column holding the main menu, and then say 50%. We can edit the menu right here, align to the right, maybe make it a little bit bigger. So let's go to style, come down here to the toggle button, the size, make it a little bit big. For the logo as well, go to style, max width 100%. And yeah, we also need to do the show hide option. So advanced, let's go to the responsive. For the section, the section holding the logo and the main menu, we're going to go in here to advanced, and then responsive, I'm going to say hide on desktop, hide on tablet, but then show on mobile. Let's now go to the original header, edit the section, go to advanced, go to responsive. So simply hide on mobile, and that's it. So let's go ahead now, update. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Let's come back in here, refresh the page, and let's see what we have. Okay, so original header right there, and okay, so this is tablet view, looking good. And then now this is going to be the mobile view, and there it is. That's exactly how to do the exact same thing on Elementor Pro that we did with the Elementor header and footer plugin. One final thing before I close this video, let's go to the back end. Now under templates, I'm sorry, yeah, under the theme builder rather, not templates. Under theme builder, this is where you will see the new header you've created. So you can click inside to edit once again. And then if you want to change the name, it's very, very simple. You come down here to the settings button, and then right here, we can call this one the home header. And we can call it, yeah, the home header basically. And then we can give the other header the name of global. If you want to change the conditions for displaying the header, maybe you want to use the same header on a different page, down here, you have the save options. You click in there. Now here you will have access to the display conditions option. This is where you can now go in to now maybe change to a different kind of page and so on. And that is basically it for creating the homepage header, both on the desktop and mobile versions using Elementor Pro. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class. Let me now show you how to rebuild the contact page using Elementor Pro, and specifically we're going to be working with the Elementor Pro form element. I'm going to go to the backend, and first of all, I'm going to disable the WP Forms plugin. We no longer need it, so I'm going to deactivate. And let's go back to the contact page, and obviously we're not going to see any contact form anymore, but I'm going to go to edit with Elementor right now. And since of course we're using Elementor Pro, we do have the form element, which is absolutely fantastic. You will find it on the Pro. You see right here, form. I'm going to let me click inside here and actually remove this block because we don't have WP forms anymore. I'm gonna take in form and then just drop it underneath the contact us title. And just like with the WP Forms plugin, by default, you will have a very, very simple contact form that will have 3 fields of name, email, message. So right here, these are the fields. You can add another field, like you click on add item. And then right here where you have type, you will have different kinds of fields. You can add date, time. You can even add file upload. So if you want your potential subscribers or customers to attach files to send to you, you do have that field. You can also integrate Elementor with Google Captcha, and then you can use the reCAPTCHA version 1 and version 3 in here for security. And then you also have like the honeypot and so on. I'm not adding any additional fields, so I'll just leave these 3. However, this is of course very subjective, but I prefer not to have the labels. I prefer just having the placeholders instead of each field indicating what kind of field that is. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the label. So we just have name, email, message. Now to edit the actual fields themselves, you click inside each one. So say for example, name, I'm going to click on name. And then right here, I can change the label itself. I can change the placeholder. And of course, we're going to make it required. Okay. And then under advanced, you will have things like the ID as well as the shortcode, which we will make use of very, very soon. Same goes with email in here. It's required. And then message, of course, I'll make the message required as well. You can make this field smaller or larger depending on your tastes. And that's it. Okay. In here, you've got the input size for the actual input for each field. You can make it small, medium, large. It's entirely up to you. You've got buttons. Do you want to make the buttons medium size, large size? But that's just the send button itself. You can change the text right here for the submit button itself and so on. Now, this is where things get very, very spicy. Actions after submit. So what happens once the user has clicked on send? Right here, by default, 2 actions have already been enabled. Collect submissions, which I'll show you in just a second, and then email. Because these 2 are active by default, you have collect submissions right here, and then you have email. Now, collect submissions, you would actually see in the backend. Let me just quickly show you. You will see in the backend, once people begin to submit the contact form, right here where you have Elementor, right, you'll see submissions in here. You click on submissions, and this is where you'll begin to see the person's name and so on. In fact, We'll perform an experiment very soon. But that's it for the submissions. Now, email right here. So you want to receive an email that somebody has submitted a contact form on your website. So right here, you can choose the email address to receive the notification. Of course, I'm going to put my own admin email right there. And then, of course, by default, you have the subject new message from, and then your website's name. You can customize this, of course. And then the message will contain all fields. However, right here where you have the from email, from name, you want to use or choose the data provided by the user. Basically, the from email should be the email of the user. So what you want to do here is this, okay? You would go to the form fields, go to email, go to advanced, and then right here, grab the short code. So copy this short code, come back down here to email, and then right here from email, you now simply paste the email ID so that you can actually see the person's email. And then from name as well, do the exact same thing. Go to the name field, advanced, and then you simply grab the short code for the name field. Go back to email, and then right here from name, simply paste that. And then the reply to will be set to the email, of course, because you'd like to respond to the person's email address. And that's it. You can add your CC, your blind copy, and so on. You can add the metadata in here as well, such as like, the page URL, the person visited, the date, time, and so on. Send as HTML or plain. This is very subjective. It'll depend on your email service provider. You've also got steps settings. Let me just quickly show you what this is. If you go back to your form fields, maybe you want to create like, maybe your form is actually very long for some reason and you want to break it down. When you're adding your item, under type, you will have step. So once you have step, now you have next. So after the step, you can then begin to add more fields again. So what happens is once they fill out the first fields in the first section, they click on next, it will take them to the next section for the form. That's basically what the steps is. You can even see this is step 1 right here, and then you can see step 2 there on the right. That's what that is used for. So that's your steps settings. And then you've also got the additional options like, hey, do you want to customize messages like, okay, the form was sent successfully, we'll get back to you in 24 hours, things like that. You have that option in here. But don't let me forget, going back to the actions after submit, you have many. Apart from collect submissions, email, you can have email too. You can redirect them to a separate page. You have a webhook. And of course, if you're using email management software like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, you can connect them in here as well. You can connect them to Slack, Discord, or even provide a pop-up message as well. So you've got plenty of options to configure or to determine what happens once the user has submitted the form. And that is basically it. Let me just go ahead and close that one. And that's, I'm going to go ahead now and simply update. And of course, let's take a look at the new page right here. Oops, my internet is misbehaving yet again. My apologies. Okay, so that's it right now. You can see the new contact form built with Elementor Pro. Let me now show you an example of the submissions. I'm going to pause the video and simply submit a message, and then you will see the results in here. Welcome back, and as you can see right now, I've actually sent two contact forms, filled out two contact forms on two separate browsers, one from John James and then one from Bob Billy at yahoo.com. Now, I should have pointed this out previously. For the contact form, you can change the name right here where you have the form name. So you can see I've just gone ahead to change mine to contact form. And I noticed this when I sent the first form from John James. You can see right here the form name was new form. That's why, and it's new form because we didn't change the name. So the second time I changed the name to contact form, submitted a new form from Bob Billy, and that's why you can now see that the form now says contact form. So that's basically it. You've got the IDs, you've got the page that the form was submitted in, and of course you can view the actual message itself. So you click on the view right here, and then you can see the full name, the email, and then the actual message from the user. And then right here, you've got the additional metadata information, when the message was sent, what browser was used, and so on. And that's basically how the contact form with Elementor Pro works. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next class. Now, let me show you one of the coolest things you can do with Elementor Pro, and that is building a template for your single posts. Before I do that, let me just show you very, very quickly how you can rebuild the blog page. Remember, we used the posts element from the essential add-ons for this page, but with Elementor Pro, of course, you do have the element specifically for displaying your posts. So let me just show you very quickly how it works. You'll find it under Pro. This is it right here, posts. You drop it in there, and of course, you can choose the skin, number of posts, show image, hide image. You have all those options in there. You've got the query. Do you want to pull from posts, or do you want to pull from like a manual selection or pages? Would you like to include by term? This is where you can now add things like your categories, tags, and so on. You've got your pagination options, you've got your styling options, and all that cool stuff. But that is not what we're here for. Let me show you how to build the template for your single posts. Now, let me pick one post right here, fashion in Istanbul. This is what we have by default, and you can see it does not look good at all. That's because the hello theme is the one that's been used to display this post, and it's very, very, very ugly. Now, I very specifically have made the content area for this post very, very long, as you can see. But there's a reason for that. I'm going to show you exactly why I chose to do that. Let me first of all go ahead and build the template for our posts. So let's go to Elementor. Templates, and then right here, theme builder. And we're going to add the builder for single post right here. Click in there. No templates found. Want to create one? Yes. So I'm going to click on add new right there. And of course, with Elementor Pro, you will have access to a wide variety of templates. You can see them right here, all for single posts, so many. But I'm going to go ahead and close this, and let's build out our template. Now, by default, since we're building the template for our single post, you'll have access to these elements under the single category. These are for your posts. So obviously, we won't display the post title, so I'll drop that in there for the post title. Now, by default, Elementor will pull in the latest post to use as a sample when viewing the template content. If you'd like to change the selection, come down here to settings. Right here, you will have the preview settings. You click in there, and then right here, I can simply type in fashion in Istanbul, because this is the one I want to use. So I'll choose fashion in Istanbul, click on apply and preview. So now Elementor will use the content from this post for our sample. Okay, I'm going to make a few changes in here. Let's make this an H2, align to the center. Let's make the text just a little bit bigger, maybe 58 pixels or 56 pixels, that's fine. Let's add some padding. At the top, 25 pixels, 25 pixels at the bottom as well. All right, what's next? Featured image. Let's drop that in there. Make this one full. And of course, you can see the featured image from the post, fashion in Istanbul. What's next? You do have the post info. You can drop that in there. And by default, it will show the author, the date, time, comments. I don't want to display the author. I don't want to display the name. The time, so I'll remove those. So just leave date and comments. You can modify these two, of course. Simply click on date as an example, and say, for example, the icon. I can just go ahead and remove the icon for that one. You can add extra metadata. So you click on add item, and then right here, you can do things like add the terms, like the category and so on, custom and so on. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that. So we only have date and comments. Let's go back to our elements right here. Next up, we're going to add will be the post content. So I'm going to drop in the post content down there, just below the information. Let me just confirm why this seems to be grayed out. Okay, it is displaying. All right. So in here, we've got the post content very, very, very long. All right. What next would you like to display? We can display the post navigation. So we have post navigation. Let's drop that in there. So now we have the previous post, the next post. Of course, you can style them as much as you want. And finally, we can add our post comments. So post comments right there at the very bottom. And that is it. So this is going to be our template. Now, why did I make the content area very, very long? I want to show you how to make use of a very, very, very cool new element called the progress tracker. You may have seen this on some certain blogs before where you'll have like a bar telling you how much of the content has been consumed or how much content you still have to read before you finish the article. That is the progress tracker right here. So what I'll do is this, okay? I'm going to drop it at the top right here, just above the title. And let me just show you how it works. So right now you can see the progress bar right there, moving. But the problem is that once we scroll past the bar, we no longer see it. So what's the point of having this bar if you scroll down here and you don't even see how much of the content is left? Well, let me show you a very, very cool trick. Go to advanced. We're editing the progress tracker, by the way. Go to advanced, go to motion effects. Right here where you have sticky, say yes. We're going to stick it at the top. So what this means right now is that once we scroll, you will see that the bar will always be there. And you can see right now until we get to the very bottom, that's when the bar finishes. So that's exactly how to do this. It's a very, 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 very cool effect, right? So you can do that for the bottom as well, which I don't think that would work because you'll actually have to scroll down at the bottom. No, it actually doesn't work. I never tried it. So just go with top, okay? Go with top. And of course, on the style, you can change the progress color. You can add a border. You can add a height, border radius, and so on. For the actual progress tracker itself, the progress will always be relative to the post content. So switch this to post content and not entire page, post content. You got the tracker type, circular or horizontal. This is the circular style, which as you can see, I don't personally like that. So I'll just go with horizontal. You can add percentage if you want. So, it will say 25%, 33%, and so on. You've got all those options in there for you. That's it. I'm going to go ahead now, hit publish. And just like with the template, you'll have to choose where you would like to display this particular template. Let's add the condition. Now, by default, it will say all singular. Be careful. All singular refers to all single pages, including your front page. So it's not all singular. Click on the drop down arrow in here. And now you'll see posts. Just simply choose posts. That's it. Okay, that's it. That is all you need. I'm going to go ahead now, click on save and close. And that's it. So let's go to the front page first. Just to confirm front page, let's go to articles. And let's pick, let's say, the majestic city of Glasgow. Okay, we'll have to refresh this page. And there it is. Okay, so scroll down. Now, obviously, the scroll bar moves very, very quickly because the content area here is very, very, very short. As you can see, it's just one paragraph or two paragraphs, basically. So maybe not the best example. Let's go with the fashion in Istanbul. Again, I will have to refresh this page to clear the cache. All right, fashion in Istanbul. And there you go. That is the template for our single post. We have the title. We have the featured image. We have the information about the post, the date it was published, number of comments, the content area, the post navigation for the previous post and the next post, and of course the comments section. So that's how to build a post template for your posts using Elementor Pro. All right, so we're practically at the end of the course, and before I conclude, let me just give you a few more general tips and advice on how to work with the paid version of Elementor. Now, you obviously have access to so much more pro elements which we were unable to cover, but there is one which I really should have added in the single post template, and that is the share buttons. You will find it just below table of contents, right next to countdown and block quote. The share buttons, what this does is that it allows your users or your subscribers to basically share your articles on social media. So when you drop that in there, you can choose the platforms. Maybe you want them to be able to share on Facebook, on Twitter, or even via email. You do have that option in there. It's very, very easy to use. Be sure to check it out. Now with Elementor Pro, you also have access to things like saving templates and saving widgets or elements as global. An example here is this, okay? Let's say, for example, for this entire section, right? Let me use the navigator button right here. So for this section containing the banner as well as the headline, if I wanted to reuse this section elsewhere, I could right click and then simply save as a template. I save it as a template. I can give it a name. Let's say the global banner, just to reuse on another page. I can save the page, all right? And it's going to be under templates in addition to the headers and footers that we created before. But now take a look at this, okay? If I wanted to reuse this template elsewhere, let me go ahead and view this page and open up another page. So say, for example, the contact page, right? If I wanted to reuse that banner here, I would simply go to Edit with Elementor and then make use of the template element, which you will find in Pro at the bottom, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So it's right here. Okay, so you'll see template right here. Just simply drag, drop the template in there, and now it will ask you to choose the template that you want to use. Since we called ours global banner, now you can see global banner. I've added it, and there you go. So now you have the header right there, or the banner right there with the headline where travel meets adventure. So that's how you can reuse sections over and over across your website. But we could also save single elements or even columns as global widgets. As an example, right? Let's say I wanted to reuse, let's say, this particular call to action right here, right? This deals and packages, right? I'm going to click inside, and I could right click on the deals and packages element itself. And then right here, you will see save as a global. Click on save as a global, and I can call this one the call to action widget, just as an example, right? I can save that. And now the thing is, if I was to go to another page again, let's say the contact page one more time, and I wanted to reuse that exact same element, all I'll need to do is to go to global right here, and now you can see that the call to action widget is now available. I can simply click drag and then just drop it anywhere I want to drop it into. So just a small little difference. Sections, you can save them as templates and reuse, but the actual elements themselves, you can use those, you can save them as global widgets and reuse them across your website as much as you want. So these are other additional features available for you with Elementor Pro. But again, you have access to so many other very interesting elements, slides, gallery, even the login element. So if you want to customize your login page with Elementor Pro, you do have the element for that. Animated headline, a price list. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of this course where I've shown you how to build a fully functional website using both the free and paid versions of Elementor. It's been a pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed the course. If you did, please do consider giving it a 5-star review, a written review. Let people know how much you enjoyed the course. Plus, also, just in case you haven't bought Elementor Pro but you're planning to do so, please do use my affiliate link. What that means is that I will get a small commission when you use my link to buy Elementor. It's a great way to support me and support what I'm doing here. Finally, the very next section will contain updates to the course, special topics, special lessons. So if you're interested in learning more about Elementor, be sure to check out the very next section down below. My name is Alex. It's been a pleasure. I hope to see you in one of my other courses as well. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or comments about anything covered in this course, of course, always feel to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to answer all your questions. Cheers and all the best. See you soon.